Good evening from Paris for the World Chase Tag World Championship. This is the biggest title in the sport, the most prestigious event in the sport, and it all takes place this weekend at Les Arènes in Auvry-Courcouronnes, the birthplace of parkour. Now, this afternoon, we saw the defending champions, Hollywood Freerunners, start their campaign to win the title again in perfect fashion, winning all 4 of their matches. However, they did say that the level of World Chase Tag has improved so much over the last couple of years that they did not have it easy. I'm Dan Dawson. This is Conor O'Carroll, a man who coached Marrero Gang to the first 3 World Championships. A decade ago it all started. Do you agree with Hollywood's assessment, particularly Kai Baldwin, one of their star players is saying it, that the level has gone up, and that's across the board?
Yep, and we're seeing that completely in the standings as well. This was meant to be an easy run for Hollywood Freerunners, but they actually had quite a bit of resistance, and we've seen some teams that we thought would get through. For Cal, Rooftop Kings, these guys are now going head-to-head and actually battling each other to the point where it's a bit messy on the scoreboard there, Dan.
Yeah, look, it is messy in Group A, but that was Group A this afternoon. We're going to focus on Group B, and this one features the world #2 team, the back-to-back French national champions in Parkour 59, and they're going to be in action on the quad behind us here at Les Arènes. We'll show you this magnificent square, the 12-meter by 12-meter, where all the action is going to play out. You can see all the obstacles there around the quad. It means that it is not easy to make a tag. The game works very simply. Every match is a best of 16 chase contest, one-on-one each chase. The evader must stay evading for 20 seconds. If they do, they get a point. If they don't and they are tagged, then the tagger stays on to try and evade themselves. At the end of the match, 3 points for the winning team, 0 for the losing team. If it's a draw, it's a point each, and there's a sudden death chase-off for an extra bonus point. And let me tell you, from what we saw this afternoon, they can be very, very important. You can see the fans here already in Les Arènes, and you can see the sheer number of Parkour 59 shirts and flags. They are going to be incredibly well cheered on, Parkour 59. So let's talk about them, shall we? Because they are the top-ranked team in this Group B. Led by Naeem Street. There's some chat that Naeem, it could be his final tournament, but it is not just about Naeem and a former MVP in the French National Championships, Hugo Boyczynski. They have got some young guns, 2 16-year-olds, and one of them in particular, Gabin. Connor, you are very excited about seeing him in action.
Yeah, no doubt. From what I've heard, from what I've seen on Instagram, and what I managed to witness on the quad during practice, Gabin Paril is going to be a force to reckon with. Not only him, we've also got Arsene Kupin, Hugo, Valley, and Tom. The whole team looks super tight. Naeem has brought together an absolute superstar team of youngsters from the academies coming up, and he might retire after this. So it might be a sort of a changing of the guard, Dan, for him to be able to turn over to the young blood.
Yeah, well, they have won in this venue. That was where they had the French National Championships, where they managed to overcome Fakao. However, although they will have plenty of support and a drummer, it would appear, they will face some stiff opposition. Where's it going to come from? Well, to be honest, this Group B has been dubbed the Group of Death, because quite frankly, there is competition from everywhere. But the obvious place to start is the reigning US national champions. That's a team called Knicks, who are making their World Championship debut. Now, it's a mix of players here, but in Michael Frazier, they have one of the most incredible physical specimens of an athlete. Matthew Hall is a former member of Hollywood Freerunners, the current world champions, and Nick Amblo managed to get a couple of evasions in that decisive final in the USA when they won the national championship. This looks a good team, doesn't it? You can see from the win rate of 83%, a young team, granted, based in Woodstock in Georgia.
Yep, but they're going to put up some stiff competition here. Obviously coming in as WCT7 US champions, Knicks are a force to be reckoned with as well. We've got Matthew Hall, not just a world champ, not just worked on Hollywood Freerunner, but also for many years, Kai Baldwin's one of the best players in the sport at the moment, one of his training partners. So he should have absorbed all of that technique from Kai, and we'll see some of it here today on the quad for the Worlds.
Yeah, it is not just them that we're looking at from America, though, because that US championship we've already mentioned, they beat Dexterity Depot in the final, but they'd already lost to Dexterity earlier on in the group stages. So it is tight between these two. These guys have lots of experience of playing World Chase Tag before. It is a very settled roster. They've got a nice range, a nice mix of skills. Perhaps no sort of standout standout superstar, but there's some real strength in depth. And the thing is, they've been frustrated in previous major tournaments in Chase Tag where they've suffered an injury early on to one of their players, and they've been working on a reduced roster. If they stay fit, and they have managed to so far this week, then do you think that they could provide a real challenge in this Group B?
Define fit, Dan. At the end of the day, they are uninjured as far as I can tell. These guys are coming in here. They look strong in practice, but we do have some cardio issues for the team. We want to make sure that everyone has got that energy to be able to last the whole tournament. Today, we do have not just one match, not two. We need to make sure they get through all 4 matches of today, and then there's a final 5th match to decide the grouping tomorrow.
Yeah, there is. We've got UGEN, who really are the old men of Chase Tag, really. They've been going back when you were coaching. You know how to beat these guys. Familiar names with Haroon Hanafi. We assume he's fit enough to compete. Richard Thompson certainly is. Dane is an old-time member of UGEN. They have suffered on a couple of occasions. There is a name missing there in Orlando DeVoe. He is here with his foot strapped up. There is, in theory, a chance you could see him on the quad, but that is desperation stakes, right?
Quotes from his mouth alone. Someone asked him earlier, they pressured him to see, look, gun to your head, would you compete? He's like, yeah, I'll rip this boot off and I'll get straight on the quad. I'm just saying, if he needs to be used, he's going to jump in. But he is out for the count as far as I'm concerned. And not only that, a little bit of drama. UGEN not getting their transfer from the top of this league table. Parkour 59 were meant to transfer a player across to them and last minute pulled out that transfer. Reasons? Allegedly injury, Dan, but I'm saying that seems a bit fishy to me.
Skullduggery, potentially. The other 2 teams involved in this group, one, ParkourMan, second appearance at a World Championship. They came over from China. They're the multiple national champions from China, and really surprised a few people, made the quarterfinals. We don't really know with these guys how much time they've been putting on the quad and in competitive action. So again, they come here as a slightly unknown quantity, but look at the world ranking. It's number 7. It's number 7 for a reason. But the other one we're going to move on to very quickly is the Crow, because this is interesting. You've seen the support for Parkour 59. You've seen the shirts, you've seen the drummer, you've seen the flags. But the Crow, another French team, are from right here in Ovry-Courcouronnes. Now, in the Group A action we saw this afternoon, Fakao, the French team, we don't know if they're going to get out of the group or not. They might not. It's a real dogfight. Do you think, Connor, that we could see potentially 2 French teams come out of this group and reach the semi-finals with Parkour 59 and maybe the Crow?
Look, in the group of death, anything could happen. We thought the Group A would be simple as the Hollywood Freerunners coming through with the top front runners, but here we've got a super competitive lineup. I am not sure who will come out, to be honest. My predictions have got me Parkour 59 top of that grouping. After that, anyone's guess is as good as mine. I'm going to see some crazy stuff on the quad. We've got Chinese national champions, French national champions, and US national champions. The world ranking alone shows up as a number 6, a number 7, and number 8 are all in this group. So who knows who's going to come out on top here, Dan?
Right, very quickly, let's show you the schedule, because we are about to get underway here at Les Arènes in Ovry-Courcouronnes. We are going to start with the Crow from Ovry taking on ParkourMan. It's one of the top teams from France, and the local team at that, up against the multiple Chinese champions coming up in Game 1 of Group B at the WCT7 World Championship.
Parkour 59 are beaten. Tragic for the French fans. These guys have the abilities to compete with the best, but they haven't had the opportunities. But finally they are here from China, looking to show us what they can do.
I think that we'll make it to the finals. I think we have a serious shot as long as we maintain confidence.
Only 4 chases remain before potential sudden death.
We've helped loads of teams develop because we like that part of the sport. But when you come to competition, no one's really your friend.
UGEN are beaten. Look at that man's face as he sinks to the floor. Absolute deserved round over here.
You're looking at the new GOAT, okay? This is the LeBron James of Chase Tag.
Listen to the crowd. It was the biggest matchup of the tournament. They said it was the match of the year, but Parkour 59 have won it. It is heroic. It is improbable.
Match 13, The Crow versus ParkourMan. In the blue corner, chasing first, The Crow.
It is go time then in Group B at the World Championship, and a debut in the biggest tournament in the world for the Crow. From right here in Ovry. They finished third in the French Nationals. They were only narrowly beaten in the semi-finals, so they've got experience of playing in this very arena. It is where they are from after all. But it has been a long old trip for their opponents. ParkourMan, the Chinese team, multiple times the national champions of China, where there is a real chase tag scene out there. It's just that we don't get to see it that often. When they came last time to the Worlds, they dazzled at times. And perhaps in Lo Gong, who you saw in a little montage, bloodied and bandaged up, but still picking up points, they might have someone who could make a difference in this opening game, Connor.
Yeah, brutal, Dan. These guys have got grit. They're going to push through. They're going to put it all on the line to be able to see the best chases possible. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Yu Wei has got, and Fang Bin specifically, because these guys are fantastic at getting those tags in, converting them over into evasions. Let's see what ParkourMan can bring to the table today.
Yeah, ParkourMan, consisting of Yu Wei, Li Yiki, Tang Ki, Fang Bin, Lu Gong, and Chris. That's the name he goes by, although officially it's Sun Punan.
10 seconds. The Crow versus ParkourMan.
It is Zachariah Nsigni on the chaser's plate, the number 21 for the Crow. Leading off. Can they make a big impression on their World Championship debut? Zachariah trying to get up and swinging round tilted cube, then going over to the loading bay, and he really did burst through there, but I'm not sure he's going to close down that space because time is running out, and it's a low move. Look at him scramble under the mountain, dive through the loading bay. Zachariah made a big move early on in that chase, but it's head and hands because it is an opening point for ParkourMan.
That for sure cost him, and you can see that slam of the hand on the high wall by the ridge. Li Yiki cannot be more happy with himself. He's got that first point in, and that first point is going to make such a difference.
Athletes ready!
Can they double up? Lo Gong under the front line, heads under the mountain, and there's a tag that's made underneath there, and it is Marwan Karouche who makes it.
Marwan securing that tag for the Crow. This gives him the opportunity for matching the evasion that ParkourMan have secured early. That first evasion can really make a difference, Dan. I think it's going to be a hard one to get back.
Well, they have taken the lead at the earliest possible opportunity. There's time for the Crow to turn this around. They could do so here with Marwan leaning against the outside border, waiting for Fang Bin to come towards him, and he does come towards him, but not enough to make a move. Going back under the ridge to the loading bay. Is it safe through the mountain? Excellent work to get through. Fang Bin trying to find a spot, and he's been completely wrong-footed. Completely wrong-footed. And surely it's a level game. Oh my God, no!
And there it is, Marwan bringing it back for the Crow. The crowd goes wild here at Evry. These are the homeboys. They have moved from the quad, it's literally just outside Les Arena, to get inside here and have the lights on them, and they are not disappointing.
The Crow evading 1-all. Athletes ready!
I thought Marwan was turning into trouble there, but he managed to come away, and it's a first point at a World Championship for the Crow. Tong Ki comes in, and it's a pretty tanky move from him, bulldozing his way to the tag.
Tong Ki and Marwan just struggling under the pressure there at the back of the loading bay. I was interested to see that starting position, quite low down, looking like he's chilling on the ground, but a little bit too much relaxed for Tong Ki to be able to come in and get that tag right at the beginning of that chase.
So in comes the number 22. It is Andy Mugini Abdu. Now, you've seen this guy in training. You really like him, don't you?
Yeah, this guy's a solid athlete, and we're going to see, yep, a little bit of a spider juke in there, and then he's pushing himself through to the front line. A little bit of acceleration and into the tray, pushing him back through, and there's the secured tag. Well done, Andy. Great work. Got that tag. Now let's see if he can get the evasion up next.
Well, it felt like Tong Ki might have done the hard work of getting away from a sticky situation, but then turned back into trouble at the lazy boy, when maybe if he'd gone under the sisters, there might have been a route for an escape.
10 seconds. Game 6, the Crow evading 1-all.
Lee Yi-ki into the action. Can Andy, starting at the ridge, put the Crow into the lead for the first time in a World Championship? Hops up over the sisters. Now having to use some pace to get around the front line, but he has got pace. Now it's under the mountain, and Lee Yi-ki's chasing shadows a little bit here. Look at him move, look at him jink, look at him move. There's a tag, and it looks like he caught the ankle, and that was late on in the chase.
Yeah, Lee Yi-ki and ParkourMan seem to be more comfortable pushing out their players on this back line, where the Yi-ki's a little higher, but we got some tilted cube mountain work going on. I think the ridge is a little bit of a tough spot for these guys. I don't know if they've quite broke down the beta to be able to flush people out on that ridge yet. Let's see if they can use it for an evasion.
In comes Kylian Tonnerre. Looks quite a rangy athlete. Is he going to be able to use those telescopic arms to make the tag? Tries to come through the tilted cube, unable to do it. Hops up onto the sisters and then onto the lazy boy, but cannot find a way through. Now the ridge offers him a chance, and it's one that he takes.
Yeah, again, the ridge is becoming trouble for these ParkourMan athletes here. Kylian being able to telegraph a quick movement there. That micro little exchange that he had, putting a foot through the ridge to flush him out, and then that's when the breakaway happened, and he's able to get the tag out in the open.
Athletes ready!
The Chinese national champions turn to Tong Ki again. As Kylian starts by the sisters and stays there for a while. He keeps an eye on his man, and it's an open ground juke. Stops, waits, turns, tagged.
There's a tag, and we're seeing players get cycled round here in the first match of 4 today. Maybe this might be a little bit of a tactic to reserve those players by the team captains and make sure we've got some players that have got a lot of endurance out for multiple rounds, multiple chases here, sorry, and then after those multiple chases, they've got some fresh players for the end of the match.
Well, look, the Crow are going to be playing their first 3 games in the first 5 today. It is a high workload in the early part of the session for the Crow. They're going to have to use their full roster, you would think, but Andy's come back in here to try and get the tag on Tong Ki. He goes under the mountain and gets his man.
He's nice with it, Dan. He's nice with it. Being able to step up here on the Tiger, just holding that position. Again, we saw it a little bit with Hollywood Freerunners, the reigning champs, and he is able to replicate these types of techniques. And he's got down the stratagem. He knows the continuum. He knows where to put himself to push his players out, and he's calm when he executes.
Athletes ready!
Fang Bin versus Andy. Fang Bin was evaded in the 3rd chase of this match. He does not want it to happen again, obviously, and I don't think he's going to. He's turned it into a chase around the outside. He's quick enough to get there. Andy goes down. It appears he's fine.
Fang Bin just counting on that acceleration there. Classic tailing pursuit, just being able to match Andy's route and try and do it faster than him here. He's caught up to him. Andy choosing to jump all the way over that first sister. Probably a mistake there. Either went for some strides to continue the acceleration or even cut into a little bit of a guac track to take the high ground.
Our first chance to see Valentin Bouleli. Up on to the ridge, but that's a nice little move by Fang Bin to drop down from the mountain. He's going around the outside. He's evidently got an engine, but he's cut inside there, and Valentin is there to take advantage.
Yeah, Valentin looking like he is predicting every move that's getting put down on the quad by Fang Bin. I could see that when he came through the loading bay, there's a little bit of a spider issue there, but he's got his feet back underneath him, and now he's ready for that first chance for him to get an evasion for his team. We've still got 1-all on the board.
Lo Gong into the action again. Still haven't seen the full roster for this ParkourMan team from China. Lo Gong, look at him move, look at him, up high, down low, keeps that speed and momentum, and ultimately it leads to an opportunity that he takes. It is 1 apiece. We're going into the final quarter of the game.
And just like that, still on 1-all for ParkourMan and the Crow. It could be anyone's game at this point, and Lo Gong is a man you do not want in an evasion opportunity if you are the Crow, because he could get it done. Zachariah stepping back up to the chaser plate for another chase.
Lo Gong is their top evader from the major tournament play that we've seen. Can he produce another point here? No, he cannot. Zachariah had him. He turned around to see Zachariah descending from the front line, and it remains 1 apiece, advantage to the Crow for now.
Yeah, great try there by Lugang to change direction under the sisters, but they did not have the cover in that position between the Lazy Boy and the sisters. He's just not got any cover there. Zachariah is coming in from that cut off of the front line and is able to secure the tag there just before he reached the sisters.
Here we go then. Tong Ki into action. Needs to make this tag. He's following his man. Now cuts across. Can he get him under the mountain? No, he cannot. Zachariah across the quad, onto the sisters, trying to get away. Oh, there's no dive, there's no dive. He might have missed his chance. He's missed his chance. And Zachariah puts the Crow in front.
Smashing it for the Crow. The crowd building up anticipation the whole way around. Love to see it. Zachariah putting in 2-1. We are now on match point for Zachariah to get the next evasion here. He will win the match for the Crow. If he can get back-to-back evasions, that's what we're looking for here, for a win for the Crow.
There's still a chance for ParkourMan to tag and then evade and force sudden death, but the tag is there. Now comes the tricky part. The fact that it was done so quickly by Fong Bin, maybe that plays into his hands.
Yeah, can only work on his advantage. Fang Bin getting a snipe tag there on the hand for Zachariah just around the tilted cube. So now he's got that chance at 20 seconds in between his chase to recover, to get his energy back, to get his breath back and see if he can make this an evasion to draw.
The Crow to win it. Killian trying to get hold of Fang Bin. Fang Bin racing around the front line. He's managed to just stay out of reach. Can he continue to do so? No, he cannot. And the hometown heroes have a lead-off win here in ParkourMan. Killian makes the tag. The Crow win it by 2 points to 1. And ParkourMan are beaten. And it's another thriller of a game to kick off the session, just as we saw this afternoon, Connor.
And you can see how much it means to these players here. They're all collapsing on the floor, hugging each other. They didn't even use the whole roster, Dan. They've still got players that haven't touched the quad, reserving them for later games. Really smart move here by the Crow to secure that first win and still have some fresh players. They're going to need them, though, because they do have the hardest game in this match. Only one game between them, and we'll see the Crow just after this. The next teams in the quad are Nyx and Dexterity Depot.
Yeah, it is all set up. We have seen the French team beat the Chinese. The French will return in a game's time and an all-French clash with Parkour 59. But about to enter the quad, it is a repeat of the US Championship Final. Dexterity Depot come here with a fully uninjured roster. That is Tim Dexter, the owner of the Dexterity Depot Gym in Indianapolis.
Starting with some Spartan activities to get them into the quad today, huh?
Aaron Lucas, in particular for my mind, one of their great all-round threats, whether tagging or evading. Roland Hannigan, you know, he is an excitement machine. He makes things happen. Some of them make no sense, but they certainly happen. But in come Nyx, the reigning US champions, as you can see, world ranked number 8. More than an 80% win rate, albeit a very young team, a very new team. They have not played an awful lot of competition. This is their World Championship debut. But in Matthew Hall, they have a man with experience of competing for Hollywood Freerunners. And in Michael Frazier, they have one of the most incredible physical specimens you will see here this weekend.
To be fair, Dan, we can't be sleeping on Nick Amblo too. You're going to see some crazy stuff here on the quad based on what I saw in practice today. Real good ridge beater. We're going to see some nice tigers, then being able to plant themselves up on these corner positions to allow them to have extra reach and choose where the evader goes to crunch down that time and get those tags.
When they met in the US final, it finished 2-0 to Nyx, but they'd already played in the group, and that was 1-0 Dexterity. Alex Mosley lines up for Dexterity in the opener. And it is Matthew Hall who kicks things off for Nyx. And look at the speed of the man as he goes round the outside. Alex Mosley doesn't want to get into a race round the outside with him, so he tries to cut off the middle, unable to do so. Matthew Hall is not stopping, but that is the move from Mosley that gets it done.
And that looked like a bit of a strong tag there, Dan, at the end, a bit of a double-handed push. And it looked like Alex, after he's been aggressive, got the tag in. Yes, definitely got my man. then it looked like a little apology. Okay, cool. You know what? Sorry. Probably went a little too hard there on the tag, but I wanted to make sure I got that tag in.
It is down to the tagger to make sure that the tag is obvious, and that was obvious. In comes Nick Amblo, the man who scored both the evasions in the US final. He made the tag.
There we go, Dan. There we go. See, look, straight into that tiger position on the tilted cube. He's looking for the positioning. He's making sure that he is telegraphing, right, we're going to go left, we're going to go right. Alex is left with less opportunities there to get away, and then he enters and gets the dive. So it's all about what happens on the bar before he gets inside the tilted cube. That's dictating the exit for the evader.
Athletes ready!
Aaron Lucas's turn to get involved in the action. He has been itching to get on the quad over the last few days. And look at him. Change of plan there. Change of plan, and look at the pace from the man.
2 tag attempts in 2 seconds at very different positions on the quad, Dan. Covering ground so quickly. I thought he had him on that quick little foot attempt under the sisters, but he ended up getting him all the way over the other side of the quad, down by the ridge. Crazy acceleration there to get up from underneath the sisters and then sprint along the front line.
0-all. Athletes ready!
Time for Isaiah Keaton, a man who goes by the nickname Spidey. Aaron Lucas round the outside of the sisters, and he loses his footing. Oh! I thought for a moment he might have been able to recover from that, but it turns out it was a fatal mistake.
Yeah, a trip and a fall, and he's taken it very honorably, being like, yep, you know what, that's fine. Tag's been accepted. We've got more players, don't worry. Roland's already on the chase plate. He's ready to go. Isaiah gets that 20-second break, and then Roland's going to be hot on his tail.
There we go, the little Spider-Man celebration from Spidey. But if you want to see celebrations, you watch this man this weekend, Roland Hannigan. He is rapid. The Lightning McQueen of World Chase Tag, and he manages to hop over the sisters and get the tag by the corner.
Looking strong as ever, Dan. Had some reservations, but Roland is managing to get it. I thought all the power was in his hair. To get that little haircut, I thought he was like Samson. I thought we'd just come in and he'd be a shell of a man. But he does look fast as ever. Getting that tag down by the tilted cube. Great work there by Roland. Let's see if we can make a difference to the scoreboard. We are now on chase 6, 0-0.
Looks like we got another tight one, but there might be a number of these in this Group B because it is very difficult to call. Roland Hannigan could be a difference maker. He doesn't make the difference this time, though, because Michael Fraser makes the tag.
Yeah, great interactions here. We're seeing coming up to the ridge, flushing people out of the ridge. This is going to be a game changer, and Michael is one of the best at it. Not just running up and letting Roland run away, but giving him the opportunity. Hey, do you want to go under? Do you want to go under? Do you want to go under? Okay, cool. Now we're going to play. And that's where the tags are made.
Athletes ready!
Michael Fraser, he is tall, he is quick, he is powerful. But Paul Fisher is no slouch himself. And he does get in there. And pulls him back in for a little hug as well. That's very nice, we're all concerned.
Making sure he doesn't go out of the quad there. Very considerate play. Oh, there we go. Cutie. Well done, Paul. Expert OG experience here from Paul. He has been in the parkour scene forever, and he is putting it to good use here. We'll see what Matthew Hall, the young buck that was on Hollywood Freerunners as a world champ and trained with Kai Baldwin, can do on the chase plate.
Paul starting off in the middle of the quad. Matthew Hall sent in to try and locate it. And there's a little shimmy, and he's unable to get away there. Matthew Hall felt like he had his man where he wanted him.
Yeah, there, straight flush out the tilted cube. Matthew Hall able to use this time to get that regeneration. Obviously, it's the first match for these guys. They should have fairly fresh energy all the way through. And I'm seeing Alex Mosley step up on the chaser plate for dexterity. Let's see what Matt Hall has got to say about this.
Still no sign of Tim Dexter, the team captain, or Mike Myers for Dexterity Depot, because Alex Mosley is sent in again. Sort of chimpanzeeing around some of the bars down low. Now he drops down, decides against it, gets back up high to give himself an option. Does he have the option of making a move on Matthew Hall? He needs to find an option, and he manages to get it. Was it a snipe tag on the hand?
Yeah, it looked like caught him out on the hand just round that corner, but even if it wasn't, I don't think Matt had the footing right to get over the sisters there. So it would have been the snipe tag, or he'd have come to a stop with his chest on the sisters either way. He wasn't quite low enough or high enough to go over or under the sisters, so he's caught out, and Alex managed to secure that tag there.
0-all. Athletes ready!
Can the deadlock be broken? Alex Mosley dropping down. He's awfully close to his man Nick Amblo there. And Nick Amblo's close again, and he is close enough to make the tag work. Big dive, big tag.
Yeah, 3 close encounters of the Nick Amblo kind. We're seeing him get real close, and this is not what you want. It puts the pressure on the evader. If that chaser is up your backside the whole time, you've got to figure out how to get away, but you've also got to figure out how not to make the smallest mistake that he's going to capitalize on. And there's that dive tag over by the ridge.
And now it is time for the team captain, Tim Dexter, the owner of Dexterity Depot Gym. Oh, look how he just hops up onto the bars. Got a little bit tangled up there. Needs to find Nick Amblo. This is the guy who was the difference maker in the final in the US National Championship. Tim Dexter manages to get his man, and it remains at 0-0. And while Tim Dexter, the Dexterity Gym owner, is on the quad, we've got the Knicks Gym owner, Dara, cheering on her team, despite the fact she really messed up her leg the other day here in Auvry-Courcouronnes.
Yeah, unfortunately we had a slight injury, not quad related, a little bit of a parkour incident. Dara will talk about that more tomorrow, but right now we do have this play to play, and Tim Dexter is underneath the mountain on his...
Ethan Grindle into the action. Not an auspicious start for the man. He loses his footing, but it's early on in the chase. Oh, well, the tag was made on the hand. If he hadn't made contact, that hand out of the quad would have ended the chase, and it would have been an evasion.
Yeah, risky move there from Tim Dexter. It would have been interesting to see if Ethan had fallen for it and gone straight over. Quick little stop. I don't think Tim was completely aware of how close Ethan was behind him, or he thought that he'd taken a little bit further into the sisters before he took that stall on the outside of the sisters.
Aaron Lucas back into the action. Any kind of evasion now could be the one to win it. And there's another loose bit of work from Ethan Grindle, but he somehow managed to recover. But look at the way he moved to the center of the quad. Talk us through that, Connor.
As he's lost his man, there's 2 stumbles from both athletes at this point, but Aaron is able to recover and decide, okay, I'm not going to tail him, I'm not going to just follow his route. It looks like he's already far away. Why not cut through the center and pop up where he least expects me? Cut the distance by choosing the path of least resistance and getting that tag down by the front line.
Is this the moment that the deadlock is broken? Isaiah Keane trying to get hold of Aaron Lucas. Lucas heads towards the safety of the tilted cube. How safe is it? Safe enough for him to leave. Now the loading bay. Doesn't hang around, under the ridge, around the front line. There's a little bit of a gap opening up. Open ground juke, under the sisters. And he loses his footing. And Aaron Lucas looked like he might have that. Lost his footing at a crucial moment.
Yeah, Isaiah, I hate to say it, but definitely got lucky there with Aaron's stumble at the end. I was expecting Isaiah to get a little bit closer in the tag, especially around the loading bay, but he hasn't got the spider down. He can't seem to get in between these bars from the inside of the obstacle. He's always working on the outside of a corner. We need to get these fundamentals if we're going to play World Chase Tag at this level.
Match point. After a slight delay, we're off. Paul Fisher trying to get hold of Isaiah Keaton. If he does so, it'll be match point to Dexterity. These two in their 3rd big contest in a matter of months, and it is going down to the final chase.
And again, we're seeing Paul Fisher use really good stalling here on the top. He's perching on the top of this sort of triangular position on some of the bars. On the tilted cube, we need that position just to hold the fort down and give options to be able to push your evader out one way or the other. But right now, this looks like chase 16 of 16, match point, and Paul Fisher has the opportunity to end it with a win.
Matthew Hall, the team captain, he started this for Nix. Can he finish it for Nix? He can. He tags, and it is 0-0 after 16 chases, and that means that both teams get a point. But there is a bonus point to be won from the sudden death chase-off. It is longest evasion wins. And we've already seen this happen 3 times this afternoon in Group A. Nimbus managed to come through 2 sudden death victories, but Dexterity Depot are going to go to their team captain, Tim Dexter, to try and put as long an evasion as possible on the board. And it is Michael Fraser that Nix send in. They've used him sparingly in this match so far. There's a nod of the head from Connor O'Carroll, our analyst.
Yeah, it's good move, good move. It's going to be Michael Fraser or Nick Angelo, to be honest.
Well, we are off and running. Tim Dexter sets off under the mountain. Michael Fraser is up high. Look at those long legs. He is pacey and he is powerful, but can he force an opportunity? Tag given. Tim Dexter just patting the sisters in appreciation. I thought he might have got away. We're going to have to check the time. Our clock says 13 seconds. It's probably a little bit less than that, but we need an exact timing. We can already tell you Matthew Hall is heading to the quad to try and beat that, and it's going to be Alex Mosley charged with stopping him.
Yeah, I mean, look, 13, 12 seconds, it's okay on the board, but you really want on a sudden death that sub 10 to secure your chances, because Matthew Hall is now having to match that sort of 13, 12 second mark, and he's going to have to escape from Alex this whole time. That is a hard task. For me, at that last chase, I wanted to see Michael Fraser get into the tilted cube and go straight for the diving tag. That would have given him an opportunity to put the pressure on. He could always recover then, and he could have got that 12 seconds after recovery, but instead hesitated a little bit on the entrance to the tilted cube. That dive could have made the difference for me, Dan.
Well, how many chances do you get if you've only got around 12 seconds? 2? 3? Absolute
maximum 2, absolute. I can't see 3, unless someone's stumbling and they're right on your tail. If you've got like a heat-seeking missile coming up behind you, maybe 3 little misses, but realistically you're going to get 2 decent interactions somewhere around the quad in this sudden death.
We're still waiting for the official timing. Alex Mosley was nervously looking up at the big screen there to see what time he has to work with to get this tag and win Dexterity Depot the game in sudden death. The extra point could prove to be absolutely vital. 10-24 is what we're hearing.
The juxtaposition as well, Dan. We got Alex pacing backwards and forwards. Matthew seeming pretty calm and collected. I'm getting sort of Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn vibes from these two. We're seeing a little bit of a calm versus aggression, and I'd love to see how that plays out when we get to the sudden death.
Hey, look, the Ewoks weren't calm, but they did manage to win some big fights.
I'm Team Ewok.
Alex Mosley, can he get it done? It's the biggest Ewok you've ever seen, but it's going to have to be a big-time play if he's going to win this one. Over by the front line, there's the tag! That's in time! Surely that's in time!
Whether or not that was in time, we are seeing him get the tag, almost taking out a TV screen on his way out the quad today. That was a full-paced sprint across the front line. There was no doubt about it. He wasn't slowing down for no man. There was no way he was taking that corner, and it does look like we got a tag under the time. Let's wait for the official referee's call on what this is going to be.
It looked like it was. The tag was definitely made before the lights went green. They were programmed to go green at 10 seconds, 0.24. So that should be that, and Dexterity Depot would win it in sudden death after a 0-0 draw. We said this would be tight.
Seems like a tag took place, but we're not sure if the tag took place.
We do have to check this. Look, we knew this was going to be tight.
Yeah,
it couldn't
always
be any tighter. Sudden death down to fractions of a second in sudden death after a 0-0 battle. It couldn't be tighter, could it?
Yeah, and these are big rivals out in the US. These guys have always faced off against each other. And like I say, Nix coming out on top in that last US championship probably bristled Dexterity up quite some, because they were almost there. They were so close to winning, and yet Nix took the World Championship on the qualifiers for the US. Now we're seeing that play out on the World Championship stage internationally.
So that is confirmed. Dexterity Depot do win that one. And in come Parkour 59, the big boys of this group. And yet you wouldn't know it, because they're being introduced like big babies, it would seem. It is because they have a real mix of youth and experience. They have the likes of Naeem Street and Hugo Buczynski with lots of big-time chase tag experience, but the two youngsters, just 16 years old, Arsène Coupin and particularly Gabin Barriel, they could be phenomena in this tournament.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no trees to be seen, but Gabin runs the Instagram account Forest Tag, and he has been known to set up his own quads and his own scenarios in the natural environment. But here we have the Crow coming in as French-on-French battle commences. The Crow doing super well in that last matchup. Let's see what they can do against the previous WCT7 French champions.
Well, Parkour 59 are the back-to-back French national champions, but it was Fakao they beat in the final. It was Fakao that beat the Crow in the semis. But they are... I'm so fascinated to see who the crowd want to win this. There's so many Parkour 59 fans. They are the biggest name in World Chase Tag in France. However, this is literally the backyard of the Crow. How many will they have brought here tonight at Les Arènes?
Yeah, I mean, crowd favorites. We need to see some big cheers from all of the crowd both times around. Even Team Fakao are out there on the sidelines. I see Coach Johan cheering everyone on. I think it is going to be still aggressive, still competitive, but I'd love to see what the result is here today.
Marwan is going to start this off. Naeem Street silencing the crowd, shushing them.
Athletes ready!
We are underway. A little pause there as Naeem gets up on top of the mountain. Just quite languidly keeping his eyes on his man. How does he do this? He's flushed him out, he's got him in a corner, and that will do it. Naeem Street using all his experience in Canny to get that done.
Yeah, and you can see he's not pouncing too early. He's getting to a position where there's a stalemate, there's a little bit of a duel situation. Marwan's thinking, okay, is he going to go this way? Is he going to go that way? Naeem has an opportunity to get in his head a little bit, play with him. He knows he's more experienced, and then he's able to get that pounce jump at the end. And talking of mind games, Naeem setting up super close to the chase plate now. Very unconventional start position for an evader.
Naeem is further back than the chaser at the start of the race. That is mad. Under the mountain, having descended from the top of it. Zachariah clambering low. Naeem Street tearing around the outside. Zachariah trying to find a way through. Does get through the loading bay. And has he just scared him out the quad there?
Blasted. Naeem a little sloppy compared to previous years we've seen him. I've seen him a little bit tighter up on his game, but that was a tag outside of the border. And we're seeing now all of the Crow coming up to play. Zachariah setting up at the ridge. Let's see what he can do up against Tom for Parkour 59, new recruit.
Tom Fair receives an encouraging pat on the behind from team captain. Oh, now then, look at him move through these obstacles. Hops up onto the sisters. Now he got tangled up there. That's cost him a second or two, but he has bounced back. Zachariah over the mountain. There comes the tag. Had he not got there, he might have really struggled to it because there was only about 4 seconds left in that chase.
Yep, last-ditch attempt there, and he made it happen. I'm very happy he recovered from that slip up there. Trying to get strides across these front lines. You've got to understand at home, these are black metal bars that these guys are sprinting on. So when you see these guys are going fast, Tom was absolutely speeding through these bars, and then that foot slip has a little recovery option there for him.
Yeah, that is wood and metal, and both of those things are hard. Andy comes in, race around the outside, tries to cut the corner, but Tom's over the sisters and away to the safety of the tilted cube. Now he's under the mountain, there's an outstretched arm, and I think he just caught a little bit of shirt.
Yeah, not the clearest tag, I'll be honest, but Tom's giving it up. He said, yep, okay, cool, there's the tag being given. Interesting to see Andy have to run a little bit more now. He couldn't play his usual tactician mode and get into those positions slowly. He had to flush out. He's put a bit of pressure on Tom to be able to keep up and keep that distance under such a fast player.
Arsène Coupin, one of the two 16-year-olds in this team, from the flourishing academy systems of World Chase Tag here in France, and they are doing good work, aren't they? Because that was impressive.
Yeah, Arsène doing super well there, and Andy not keeping his eye on the ball. I don't know if he was a little flustered from the previous chase, but he should have kept his eyes on his opponent the whole time. As an evader, you need to know where your chase is coming from, and just there, he's moving around the loading bay out into the open when he could have carried on keeping that cover there.
Athletes ready!
Valentin Beluli into the fray. Arsene heads to the sisters, hops around those, now needs to put some speed on around the front line, does do that, looking up from the bottom of the ridge, and now goes over the mountain, drops down into the tilted cube, there's a... Oh no! Oh no! He managed to get away from his man, the point was there to be won, but he lost his footing, went out the quad, and that means it is an automatic tag.
Yep, goes straight to a no contest tag. You step outside that border, you touch the concrete on the other side. You can run on the border, you can run on some of the bars that are extending from it, but as soon as you touch that concrete, you are out. And we finally get to see the showman himself. Let's see what Gabin's got on the chase plate.
The other 16-year-old in this Parkour 59 team. Oh, I see what you mean.
3 seconds, no?
Oh, wow.
Straight in for a spike. Gabin showing what he's worth. Quick little hug there from the competitor, and he's back in. Where will he start? What will he do? And this is the first time we've seen someone start on that closer sister right there. Let's see what is going to happen for Gabin. If Killian's smart, he'll cut into the center.
Killian Tonnerre literally laughing at the starting position that Gabin has taken here, straddling one of the sisters, straddles the other one for good measure, but then sets off, and once he gets moving, he is just ghosting through obstacles, and he is doing it at speed. Look at him go as he ghosts literally over the sisters. Oh my word! And no, he has not just done that. He has dropped the shoulder. Oh my days, what a debut evasion!
To be clear, audience back home, kicks do not count as tags, hand tags only. So there was contact. Contact had been made, tag had not. Killian has got to Gabin. There was a mistake made by Gabin, which is why he got caught underneath that mountain, but he did not get caught by a hand as far as we can tell. Gabin getting kicked in the shin and then continuing the run afterwards. Fantastic work there to keep his composure, work back into the sisters, and get a nice bit of footwork there to consider the evasion just after getting kicked in the shin. MMA or World Chase Tag? What are we doing, Dan?
Well, look, the first thing I thought of as Gabin is stood at the bottom of the mountain. In comes Killian, who dives past him. Gabin stepping out of the way. That is the Matador. He may as well have a little rug and just let him go past. That is astonishing. Yes, there is contact with the foot. As you rightly say, that does not count as a tag. It must be made by the hand or by the arm.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little down forward square action. This is a little superpower special move from Tekken.
Is there a finger on the waist? I don't know. As he breathes, I don't think so, but
if there is, it's not clear, and I really wouldn't count that as a considered tag at this stage. Seeing Killian do his best, but seeing Gabin get kicked and then continue and still get the evasion. At the end of the day, if you can't secure that tag, if you've slipped yourself on trying to get the tag, then I don't think it's really going to be considered.
Is 16-year-old Gabin Pariel about to put the French national champions 1-0 up in the all-French clash to start their world championship. You've all seen bullfighting. The Matador usually wins. He may have won this particular one. Our referee is taking a look at it. This is the moment. There is the left hand outstretched. I don't think that's close enough. That angle seems to suggest, unless it brushes the thigh.
That's nothing for me. Feet tag do not count, and then we need to see a clear hand. I can't see a clear hand. Now, obviously, we are not the ref department. We are seeing our head ref there, Johan, reviewing the footage, and not only just the footage, he's also getting the other referees around the quad, and the ref is reviewing a lot more camera angles in his ear, so he'll make the final decision, and he steps to the chaser plate for that decision now. What have we got, Johan?
Big moment. Huge moment for Gabin Pariel, who sensationally picks up his first evasion in a world championship. And look at the reaction from the French national champions.
Yeah, they needed that to get that one chase down and get the evasion on chase 9 is going to make the difference. Let's see what they can do, and let's see if Gabin can get a nice little streak off the back of it. He's had the time. At the end of the day, that DTR only benefited him. He's had the rest, and Marwan, who started this whole thing off, is stepping back to the chase plate.
Some little hand movement coming from the Parkour 59 guys to Gabin. Is that advice? Is it celebration? Who knows?
Secret tactics, Dan.
Maybe a secret tactic. Straddles the sisters again. Gets away before the tag can come in from Marwan. Marwan has another go. Gabin manages to get away from that by the looks of it. He didn't look, but it didn't matter. And Gabin Pariel
And you see Marwan miss the tag, got an evasion against him, and getting up off the floor. Marwan has put his hands up to say, yeah, look, definitely an evasion. Well done, Gavin. I got outschooled there. And to see the speed at which he is using the sisters, Dan, I'm loving the quick footwork on the outside of those bars, not over the middle anymore. Really good technique to keep himself away from the tagger.
Well, what a star we have here by the looks of things in Gavin Pariel. He's just jogging across the quad. I don't really think he was quite aware of how close Sakurai was, but he has done the damage already and put his team 2-0 up. Yeah, look, at this stage, I wouldn't be surprised if he was deciding to get that jog to say, you know what, let's get a conversion. Turn me over, that's fine. I'm going to sit out. I'm going to let Sakurai get back on as an evasion opportunity, because we're 2 up at this point. First match in, we're 2 up. We're going to keep that. I'm going to keep some of my energy for later on in the tournament. Well, time for Hugo to come in. Hugo Boczynski, a former MVP in the French National Championship. Not a bad man to turn to when you're already 2-0 up. And a big long arm from Hugo gets his man and preserves Parkour 59's lead. Exactly that, Dan. And I'd say at this point, Parkour 59 are probably worth just putting in players that want a little bit of quad time right now to keep themselves warm under the lights, make sure they're moving well, make sure they're ready for their next matchup, because they are next up going against UGEN later on. Oh, sorry, Nyx coming up just 2 matches from now. So they want to make sure they're ready for that. Roman Lenoble comes in for the Crow. He's a big lad, is Roman, but he's unable to make contact with Hugo there. Along the front line, just trying to maintain his balance. And another slide, this time through the loading bay. That doesn't make contact. He's not going to get another chance, or maybe he might get one. Has he got one more chance? No, he has not. Hugo gets the point. This is now turning into a rout. Yeah, outclassed. I saw some really cool stuff from Romain when it came to threading and putting people in awkward situations, but his strong suit is not the high line. Being able to sprint across that front line there, you could see he was off balance the whole time and couldn't keep his composure to be able to match the speed of Hugo on those high strides. Is Hugo going to wrap it up and seal a 4-0 win for the French champions? This was tight for the first half of the game, but Parkour 59 have pulled away. And it is down to Valentin to try and prolong this for just a little longer. Just a little longer. His arm doesn't need to be any longer. He manages to get Hugo. And that brings us into a tag winning the match. Setting ourselves up for that match point situation. If a tag is made here, Parkour 59 are going to win this match. And it's a first chance to see Vali Sultani, originally from Afghanistan. Big stamp on the chaser's plate before Vali heads in. Can he wrap this up? Moves on to the tilted cube bars now, drops back down. Valentin heading towards the loading bay. Vali is after him, Vali is after him, and Vali gets the tag, and that is the victory for Parkour 59. The first 7 chasers, these two couldn't be separated, but it is the 16-year-old Gavin Pariel who came in, made the difference, set it up, and Hugo Boczynski managed to seal it for them. A 3-0 win. Impressed with that one, Connor? Yeah, that is what we were expecting. At the end of the day, Parkour 59 should be head of the table based on the rankings. Based on paper, I'd say they win this as they should. And seeing Gavin play, seeing Arsenal play, and also seeing Vali right at the end, I was really impressed, you know, between the loading bay and the tilted cube. He had some really clean work getting in and out of those bars. That spider technique has served him well, and it looks like he's very smooth, and these obstacles are not slowing him down. Very needed to be able to catch up and get those tags, and even more important for the evasions later on. Well, look, we may be watching the origin, the genesis of a genuine world chase tag star in Gavin Pariel. Yes, it is only 1 game, but what he has shown us, particularly with that debut evasion, the Matador maneuver beneath the mountain from Gavin Pariel. And the Parkour 59 fans are celebrating, because they have just raced to the top of the table with that 3-0 win. An impressive start for them. And I shouldn't think they're needed, Dan, but if it does come down to evasions, that 3 points on evasions will really help them out. Well, we may have an opportunity to speak to Parkour 59 with our quadside reporter Greg Ball. We will see if we can do that for you. following their victory.
All right, guys, I'm here down with Gabon, and he's just scored 2 evasions in a row in his first game here at WCT7. How does it feel scoring 2 in a row, buddy?
My feeling is good. My chase against Kylian is very, very crazy. I didn't know how it's possible, but I'm very, very, very excited to see the sweets. And let's go.
Well, we'll
Thank
find
you very
out what
much, man.
Gavin is very, very, very later. Right now, we're going to move on to look at the next 2 teams that are entering the fray. We got Dexterity Depot playing for the 2nd time and ParkourMan playing for the 2nd time.
Well, ParkourMan were beaten 2-1 by the Crow. Dexterity Depot needed sudden death to see off Nix. But as we're going to keep saying it in this group, you've already seen it. Parkour 59, they could run away with it, but everybody else looks very, very capable of beating each other. Even the Crow, from what we saw in that game against Parkour 59, they were good enough to beat ParkourMan. They were good enough to be level with Parkour 59 from pretty much the first half of the game.
Yeah, big differential there. There's going to be a huge difference between who can take the 2nd place slot in this grouping. Only 2 teams are going to go through to that semi-final tomorrow. So we'll see 4 games today, the 5th game to decide this grouping tomorrow, and then the final straight after that. That will be the semi-finals. Tune in again tomorrow. But right now, we do have Dexterity Depot all the way from the States and ParkourMan even further, all the way over from China to compete here. Mike Myers getting out his notes, making sure everything's set. The game plan is in action, and we have on the quad ParkourMan to start. Lu Gang, good, strong start as a first evader, and Tim Dexter stepping up to the mark for the first chance to get that tag.
Well, Tim Dexter is used pretty sparingly in their opening game. He is leading things off here. Baseball cap on backwards. Getting up onto the steel pipes. Moving across that front line pretty gracefully. Dropping down under the sisters and getting that tag before his man can get away around the tilted cube corner.
Yeah, interesting they got up there, Dan. I'd say that was a bit of a misdirect because realistically in that space I'd expect him to enter, to infiltrate the loading bay and to get his foot inside, to be able to get on top. I think that was just to push out Lu Gang and put him in a different position and get a different interaction at a different obstacle to be able to secure the tag later.
Athletes ready!
Well, this is Chris, aka Sun Punan, looking to try and get hold of Tim Dexter. Dexterity still searching for that first evasion. It was 0-0 against Nix, and they're still searching because that tag was made against his back.
Yeah, this could be a tight one here. We got Chris setting up all the way at the back for the tilted cube. Little cheer for the crowd, and the crowd are responding well. They are cheering out for our ParkourMan team here today. Be interesting to see what Chris can do with it. This is a strange position to be starting in, right in the middle of the mountain. Not that much EQ there. Let's see what he can do.
Starting down low. He's got options of places to go, but Paul Fisher's just going to go straight at him and make the tag within about 6 or 7 seconds.
Yeah, I've seen it before. I've seen people trying to start on top of the mountain, very exposed, underneath the mountain. At the end of the day, as soon as that chaser gets off the chase plate and gets into the center of the quad, you got to make moves. And you are at a disadvantage because you are out in the open there. They can dive straight through to get that open space between the mountain. You need to get some cover behind you, either the tilt cube or the loading bay.
It's number 26 coming in, Lee Yi Ki, trying to get hold of Paul Fisher. Paul gets to the sisters. He's in between the sisters. He don't want to stay there too long. Wow, he's managed to sort of shoulder drop and send his man the wrong way. And now it's turned into a race, and Paul Fisher doesn't mind a race because he is quick. And he goes off all the way around the outside. Uses the sisters. He stopped there again. And that, well, look at that. 19.99.
Real close. If he'd have just done a ghost, if he'd have been able to jump from that border, get clearing of the sisters in those last few seconds, I think that evasion would have been secured. But Paul Fisher, under pressure, reverted back to what that muscle memory told him is secure. It worked earlier. Maybe it'll work again. But fool me once, it will not work again.
It's so key to have that internal clock, both as chaser and evader, to know how many seconds are left, to know what you've got to do to get the tag or the evasion. Roland Hannigan has a bit of time here, and he looks like he has loads of time. He rolls out of that quite nicely, having failed to make the tag, and so he can carry on the chase and create another opportunity, and his pace bails him out of trouble there.
rapid, absolutely rapid. You can't even imagine the sort of pressure that Leaky will be under when Roland is chasing him around there. Any obstacle Roland gets up to, he's already knows his positioning. He's able to put some pressure on, make your options less. As an evader, you want to make sure you've got cover. Roland completely destroys that. You feel exposed the whole time.
Roland Hannigan starting by the ridge. Why false starts? Yeah, it's a false start, and ultimately that means that it's a few more seconds for Roland to recover, so the chasers are punished by their own false start.
Yep, Roland's little celebration there, he's happy with it.
Few big more gulps of air for Roland Hannigan in preparation for this. Did not change his starting position, it was by the ridge. Now he goes across the quad to the sisters. By the front line, stopping, open ground juke, and he's going to get away. The pace helps him, it goes around the sisters, not the best one, but good enough. Under the mountain, to the loading bay, now the ridge. Roland Hannigan for the first full evasion. Did he wave at him? Did he wave at him? Roland Hannigan with a first point for dexterity.
Cheeky boy and cheekier feet. These little stutter steps he's got are really working. Looks like he could change direction. It's almost that like idling technique of like, I'm moving, but not really. He stood in one place. He might be going left, he might be going right, and it puts that hesitation on the player that's trying to chase you the whole time. Roland doing it real well here and securing that first evasion for Dexterity Depot.
Can he find another to put him in a commanding position? That pace and that power gets him up onto the front line easily, then to the sisters. Now goes under the sisters, but this time the tag is made. It is made by Logang.
Yeah, good luck going low against Logang. He is going to slide himself straight under that sisters. It's in the name. He's got a good scramble technique, and he's able to secure that tag there just outside of the sisters.
So Logang stays on. If he can evade here, it'll be a level game at the halfway point. And Mike Myers!
Ready to see some Vipers?
It's another starting position at the bottom of the mountain. Is he going to move in time, or is Mike Myers going to find himself right there, ready to make the tag? Gets up onto the tilted cube, and he's just sort of shimmying those shoulders, shaking, trying to make his man move, trying to force a mistake. He's a little bit awkward getting in there, but he dives through the loading bay, unable to make contact. How much time has he got left? Not much, not much, not enough! We have got a level game. Logang, the man for ParkourMan once again.
I called the Viper, but I did call it on the wrong obstacle, and it cost Mike Myers there. I was expecting him to push him Viper straight through the tilted cube, and this is what he needed, and it is what cost him that evasion. Is he's taking up too much time trying to do the high ground on the tilted cube when he should have just infiltrated straight through to that belly slide. Eventually got it, but far too late, and Logang's walked away with an equalizer.
Aaron Lucas goes down low, so quick, the acceleration. You'd think he'd take longer to get up to that speed, but it just happens in a fraction of a second.
Yeah, that's what you get for track and field for most of his life. Getting up to college level and making sure he has got those strong legs, strong change of speed and acceleration from nothing to everything in 12 meters. Aaron Lucas has got the legs to pay the bills. Let's see what he can do on the next evasion opportunity.
Big into speed climbing, Aaron Lucas as well. Explosive ability to just hit top speed quickly. Goes around the sisters, turns around, sees Fung Bin right behind him, so carries on going. All the way around the outside, now goes up onto the mountain, drops down into the tilted cube, around the sisters again, and all the way around again, and look at his pace, look at his speed, and look at the way that he's put his team back in front again.
Great work there, taking the high ground, just not letting Fang Bin get the distance on him, and Aaron taking it up to the mountain. This has given him a full 7-second route from the mountain through to the sisters. You can kill that time if you're just up high. No one can get you if they are not coming in perpendicular. If they're chasing you, they just have to wait for you to get back down from the sky.
Aaron Lucas has put Dexterity back into the lead. They're only pegged back for one chase. He drops down from the mountain. And all the way around the outside, he does not want to tail this man. He tries to cut him off at the corner, but Aaron Lucas sees it coming, turns back on himself. And where does he go from here? Cuts across the quad, centre, under the front line. There's a claim of a tag, I don't know. It's definitely the end there in the centre of the quad. If it is, it looked like a calf or maybe the sole of his shoe.
Yeah, I'd say that's maybe a finger on the sole of a shoe. Aaron couldn't feel it. Let's see what's happening here. Aaron's coming his way, a little Kong vault, and then a slide underneath the front line to get there.
It's going to have to go to DTR, the disputed tag review, and it's going to have to be obvious. And I have to say, on the first replay we saw there, I wasn't so sure.
Yeah, I don't reckon that's a tag, Dan. I think Chris has obviously called it because he's felt that he's reached out and he's touched something, and it was a last-ditch attempt to try and get that tag. They're obviously 1 point down. Don't think it benefits him to spend a little bit more time on recovery. For the dexterity players, they're getting all of this time to recover if ParkourMan have called it. However, if it does go their way, then obviously the tag gives them the opportunity to equalize and get an evasion next.
Yeah, you cannot afford to go 2 points down at this point of the game. We're in the 11th chase. Unless it was early. No, I don't think it is early. It has to be from that dive.
Yeah, there weren't too many other opportunities, and it looks like to me that his hand's gone clearly down to the ground. He's felt himself hit something, but I think he's hit the floor.
Right.
Let's have a look here. He's caught his leg. It looks like neither player has got over that super smoothly, but Aaron collapsing to the ground for a slide, and Chris reaching out there for that left foot of Aaron.
It's closer than I thought, but again, is it obvious? Is it obvious enough for the referee to say that is definitely a tag?
I think no contest, no contact made, Dan. Let's see. We'll have to rely on Johan and his judging ability here to take in all the intel and see what we can do to get that DTR resolved.
Dexterity lead. And they lead by 2.
2-1 to Dexterity. Crazy result. Obviously, the DTR was called. It did not come out in the favor of ParkourMan right now, and this gives us Dexterity another point on the board. And Aaron is now setting up for that evasion opportunity yet again.
Aaron Lucas has put his team 3-1 up with back-to-back evasions. Could he complete the hat-trick? Because if he does, ParkourMan, it looks an impossible task. Aaron Lucas underneath the sisters. He loses his footing, and Tanki manages to make the tag. Let's go down to the side of the quad where Greg Ball is doing some reporting for us.
Yeah, talk about a rush little move there. Sorry, dude. Come round the front over here. We'll interview them from behind.
10 seconds.
Thoughts so far?
This group has been wild. The Parkour 59 coming out hot. The matches have been close so far. Yeah, it's been wild.
We'll chat to you again
Well,
later.
that is Amos Rendau, the mastermind for Hollywood Freerunners, the world champions and title favourites who won all 4 of their games this afternoon. And that is a tag quite succinctly made by Alex Mosley against Tong Ki to preserve Dexterity's lead, and it means that it is match point to the team from Indianapolis.
Match point, and I'm seeing Dexterity utilizing Alex a lot here. Quite early on in the tournament, it'll be interesting to see how his energy levels fare out as we get further in. Obviously, Alex now in the hot seat. Will he use it to absolutely gun out the energy and try and win that match early, or will he sit back and try and find the defensive play?
Lee Yi-ki has to tag here. Then he has to evade twice in a row just to force sudden death. ParkourMan maybe slipping to defeat here. Alex Mosley up onto the sisters, and now even higher. He's in the stratosphere. And round by the loading bay, up over the ridge! And there the tag is made. There was not long left there at all, but ParkourMan aren't done just yet.
Yeah, Alex could have done with a little bit more work on just setting up a couple of traps, being able to put himself in a position where Lee Yi-ki is coming to him, and then after that reacting and moving away. Instead, he's super far away, which eventually puts him full circle back into the jaws of Lee Yi-ki.
It remains match point to Dexterity, and Paul Fisher can seal the deal. The team from Indianapolis. Paul Fisher, he stood above him. He's literally above him. He's literally above him, and it was only a matter of time. The only option Lee Yi-ki had was just to build a little hut and stay there for the next 8 seconds. He didn't do that. Paul Fisher makes the tag. It confirms a 3-1 victory for Dexterity Depot.
So there we go, down. 1 sudden death win by Dexterity and 1 clear win against ParkourMan here today. Let's see how that affects the table in regards to the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, well, Dexterity Depot have already had 1 sudden death win against their American rivals, Knicks. They now add that outright win. No, that's Group A. We want to have Group B. Don't worry about it. We know Group A. Don't you worry about it, lads. But Group B, Dexterity Depot are now Well, they've just completed their second game. They actually moved to 5 points because they had a sudden death win. So let's take that away. It's just confusing for everybody. It matters not, but we are going to crack on with more action here because once again, we get to see the Crow, and it's the first time we get to see UGEN.
And there we go, the oldest heads in all of World Chase Tag history at this point. They were around for WCT2 all the way up until now. I myself have stood opposite them on the world stage, and they are consistent, if nothing else. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Am I right, Dan?
Something like that. The old men of Chase Tag. Running round your call. They used to have an onion on their belt. It was the style of the time. But they take on some of the young guns in the Crow from right here in Evry. The Crow really did put in a solid display. In their opening game against ParkourMan, took a 2-1 win. They couldn't handle the might of Parkour 59, but they were competitive in the first half of that match. We don't really know what to... Well, do we know what to expect from UGEN? Yes, we know the faces. Yes, we know the competitors. But there's always a question mark of how fit, say, Haroon Hanafi is. They are already missing Lando DeVoe. They were supposed to have Mo from Parkour 59, and he never showed up. So are they really in a position to do some damage?
To be fair, every time I see Richard Thompson, he gets better and better. So if he keeps on with that trajectory, he'll eventually be the best in the world. And then we've got Dane Nemberhard, who I'm not sure, maybe he's got the dust cobwebs and he has to dust himself off to be able to get back on the quad. Let's see what Sam can do now for UGEN, chasing out and getting the first tag of the event.
Well, they do have a real gun in Sam van Rijn, the young Dutchman. This team is nominally a British team, but they do have Dave Hogenboom and Sam van Rijn, who are both based in the Netherlands, where that is where they do a lot of their training on the quad. There is no quad in London for the rest of UGEN upon which to train. So Sam van Rijn stays on. He starts at the base of the mountain. We've already pointed this out. He needs to get out of there before Zachariah arrives, and he has done very early. Goes to the tilted cube, then round the sisters, using those bars. Uses the bar there by the laser boy. Decides to go under the sisters. Zachariah descends, but he's not close enough to make a move. Round to the loading bay. Tries to jump out the way of that, but he manages to get a hand on him.
Look, it's not working for Sam right now. He didn't get the evasion. However, Sam is very unpredictable, and that is one of his specialities here. So to have thrown in 2 different variations already on how to use the sisters, when there are only about 3 or 4 different ways you can use it, shows that he's only touched it twice. He's done 2 different ways. No one will be able to guess which way he's going to use it next.
Haroon Hanafi, the harpoon, the man who does not get evaded. Well, it has happened once, but very rarely gets evaded. Look at these telescopic arms as he glides through the mountain and reaches out one of those big long limbs to make the tag.
Yeah, and it's not just reaching. You see, anytime Haroon is moving around, he's like a big daddy long-legged spider, being able to hold onto these bars, basically crawling himself through the space by dragging himself around corners. So he's got one hand on a bar, the other hand for the reach. Just gives him that extra stability when he hits the corners to get the extra reach and get that tag in.
You know, when Haroon is tracking you down, it's like one of the xenomorphs from Aliens. There's just limbs everywhere, and it's going to get you. But can he get away here from Marwan? Up onto the sisters. Haroon swings around the tilted cube. He's on the outside of the sisters. Idles there. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Sends him! Sends him! Oh, whack of the finger! This is classic! This is old school! Old school Haroon! Old school UGEN! Taking it back to the day!
There we go, we're back on form for Haroon. We got the finger wag, we got a complete change of direction. We go, no, you're not gonna get me. And there it is, he gets the final evasion here for this chase, which gives him the opportunity to double down. And we've got Andy stepping up, a strong weapon for the Crow. Let's see if they can match and break this momentum now that UGEN have built.
Can he do it again? Haroon Hanafi. Nuclear-powered swagger of the man. He's managed to avoid one hand there. He's by the ridge. What's he going to do? Shape in one way, shape in the other, and then gets stuck. He tries to sort of matrix out the way of Andy there in open ground. It wasn't going to happen.
If you're going to do an open ground juke, you should probably have a smaller body to hit. Haroon's a big man right there. I don't think he's going to disappear into the ether. Andy knows what he's looking at. He's got the tag in, and now he's got the opportunity to match that. They are 1-0 down now, the Crow. The pressure is going to be on for Andy, and they are in chase 6 to play.
Yeah, it's kind of like trying to hide the Eiffel Tower behind a shed. In comes Richard Thompson. A man that our analyst Conor O'Carroll says gets better and better and better, and he was so in control of that.
Look, if you start at 1% and you double every time I see you, it's not long before we've hit 1,000,000,000%. You know what I'm saying? Now, Richard doing really well here, starting out his positioning. He has got that little crouch down by the tilted cube. Nice deep breaths, resetting his central nervous system. Make sure he's calm and collected, and Killian stepping up to the mark to take down this overhead and see what the Crow can do to get that tag.
Hops straight over the front line, Killian. It forces Richard to make a move. Another idle by the sisters, seeing quite a bit of that. But it's the pace that he needs to get past the front line. Bounces off, and to be honest, he was nodding and watching that hand come towards him, and he could do nothing about it, Richard Thompson.
Yes, Dan, utilising his sisters here is a speciality, not just of Richard, but all of the UGEN team, for Sam has got his own tag index named after it. Not quite an idle, you were close, but this is the stutter, when we are able to move into position and stop for a second and then continue moving. Idling is more when we're jogging on the spot.
Dave Hogenboom into the action. The other Dutch member of the team. Killian starting in the centre of the quad and then moves through the mountain. Dave Hogenboom, he is quick, but he's not going to go through the sisters. Now then, what happens here? What happens here? It's a real standoff. He's shaping one way, he goes over the sisters, and the tag is made. Double thumbs up from Killian to acknowledge it.
Voila, at the end, being able to come down on the other side of both sisters. Actually, Killian utilising pretty good idling at a certain point in this chase. That little quick foot movement he's got to keep himself sort of in the same position, like he could escape left, right, left, right, left, right, and then break away. He did well, he almost got there. There's 18 seconds on the clock. Good hope in there, but Dave is now in the hot seat, and they still are 1-0 in the lead.
We head to the second half of this contest with UGEN with a 1-point lead. Dave waiting at the sisters.
No coverage. Dave, what are we doing? What are we doing on the bottom of the sisters? Zachariah's already broke the cover line on that sisters wall. He's already around the left side of it. He can see you. If he can see you, you can see him, and he's going to come down and get that tag. Well done there, Zachariah. Nice quick tag, which gives him the opportunity to recover on that 20-second recovery. And again, starting under the mountain. Let's see if he can move away a little quick when Sam comes off the chase plate.
Sam Van Rijn not powering towards his man, and Zachariah gets away. Now by the front line, and Sam's just waiting, biding his time, reached down to just try and snipe him there, but couldn't quite manage it. Time is ticking away, 5 seconds left. Sam Van Rijn needs to make a move. He did make a move, it did not work, and that might be a problem. There it is, right at the end, right at the end. I think that was just in time. The tag came in, it was very, very close. The lights went green, but now they are red.
Multiple attempts there for Sam managing to close it down with fractions of a second left on the clock. Being able to get that tag down by the tilted cube. Well done, Sam, for keeping calm. I know it's hard once you've already attempted to regain composure and get back in the game.
1-0, UGEN.
Well, it was a tag, but it did go pretty much the distance. How much is it taken out of Sam Van Rijn? Drops down from the mountain, decides against going over there, but this time he is going there, and Andy is right after him. There's a stop at the sisters and moves back the other way, and Andy's trying to follow him, and he goes underneath low on the mountain, reaches up and gets the tag.
Well, the thing is, Sam's got great cardio. I had no doubt that he could keep the energy up through that, even though it almost went the distance in the last chase. However, Andy has got some real good tactics here, being able to keep himself big and push his opponent into certain places, almost herd them into a position to be able to cause an opportunity for him to get that tag.
1-0, UGEN.
Well, the French crowd cheering on Andy. But it does not matter. He's caught on the hand, I believe, and that is a very, very quick tag for Dave Hogenboom, and it means that it remains 1-0 UGEN with just 4 chasers remaining.
Got that snipe spike, and we are seeing the Crow rotate again. Not all of their players being utilised, but similarly with UGEN, we're coming up to chase 13, and we still haven't seen Dane step onto that chase plate. Interesting to see the player choices here today.
Dave Hogenbohm threatening to get on top of the ridge, but deciding against it in the end. He goes around the front line and gets up onto the lazy boy, shimmies a leg out, and then goes back the other way. He's under the ridge now. Where does he want to go? Keeps threatening to go one way and then not doing it. He's done the same thing there, and now it's under the ridge, and maybe he's got the time, and maybe they've got space, and now they've got daylight. It's 2-0 UGEN. Dave Hogenbohm gives them some breathing room.
Yeah, Dave utilising the loading bay back there super well, just being able to play with his opponent. Marwan not having an answer for this sort of juking left and right that he's doing. The idling that was happening in the loading bay had nothing to play for. And Marwan not breaking the ridge as well, being able to flush that ridge out quickly is a key component of this game.
Is it going to be back-to-back defeats for the Crow, having started with victory against ParkourMan? Dave Hogenbohm can seal it here. Killian's trying to get hold of him, and he keeps on inching closer.
Played him his own game, Dan. Dave started this with a tag to a hand, and it is finishing with him stepping off the quad, having been tagged straight on the hand. Killian getting a snipe tag there, quick and accurate, making sure he gets that trailing hand of Dave on the bars.
Well, 2-0 up, and with 2 chases to go, they're now bringing in Dane. He's got a chance to get it done here. Dane noted for the work he does down low. Does that mean that Killian is going to try and get up high? We will see. Dane does go down low through the ridge. Comes through those gaps. Killian looking over his shoulder. Goes round the outside of the sisters. Dane once again scrambling around, trying to find a way through. Just gets a little bit caught up in the ridge. And he does go up high, Killian. Drops down round the sisters. Oh, foot out, and he's done. He looks so in control of the entire thing, and then he's just ended up putting his foot out of the quad, and that brings an end to the Crows' challenge in this one.
404, user error, Killian not managing to get there. He's got that foot slip just on the outside of the sisters. To be fair, he could have mounted the sisters straight on the wall to be able to keep going, like on the top of the sisters' face, but instead he's chose the outside route, and that has cost him largely. Unfortunately, the Crow now working on their loss here against UGEN. But UGEN, well done for taking those 2 points and taking the clear win at this point in the tournament.
Right, let's show you then. We're going to bring you an up-to-date table here following that 2-0 win for UGEN. Their first appearance in this group stage. Dexterity Depot on top, but Parkour 59 and UGEN, 1 win out of 1 game. Nix managed to... Well, there was a sudden death defeat for Nix, so they should only have 1 point. We'll come to that later on. But the top of the table, you can trust all of that as we crack straight on, because we are going to see Nix in action once again. And this is the American champions in Nix from Georgia against Parkour 59, the back-to-back French champions. At the start of this evening's session, we thought that this might be the 2 best teams in the group, but we did say there's a big asterisk because anything can happen. Right now, who knows? Parkour 59 still look the strongest, but they've only had 1 game, that 3-0 win against the Crow.
Still favourites to win here. We got Parkour 59 greeting their fans as they walk out to the stadium. Looks like the place is erupting. We got people on their feet, standing ovation, cheers. There's even a drummer in the crowd, Dan. However, Nix are not to be underestimated. Crowd advantage does not make the game here. Nix have done their work. They have smashed out and got that decisive draw. Decisive draw. They managed to get a draw already in, and then let's see if they can get a clear win up against the team favourites, which is Parkour 59. I personally am really looking forward to some matchups here. I want to see Matt Hall versus Gavin. I want to see what happens when those 2 absolute whirlwinds collide on the quad. And we have got a first choice on Parkour 59 going in for Valley for the opportunity for that first evasion, as well as Azaya being picked for Nix on the chaser plate.
Interesting choice from Parkour 59 to lead off with Valley, somebody they only brought in right at the very end in their opening game. Is this a case of the French champions trying to mix things up a little bit? Valley starting near the ridge, just shimmying around. Now he goes up and over the mountain. And he goes down low over the sisters. Isaiah trying to find an opportunity, trying to stay close enough. He hops into the tilted cube, and he can't find a way. And Valley, the speed here. The speed and the movement. And it's another point for Parkour 59. What a start to this one.
Just because they didn't use him doesn't mean he's not great. The speed of that man is insane. What a whirlwind around the quad. Looks like we have slightly underestimated Valley here in looking at some of their star players for Parkour 59, but he is well up there with the rest of them. Looking at getting that first evasion on the board, they are now in a lead. Great advantageous position to be in.
Well, in comes Matthew Hall, and there was a desperate attempt very early on, and a I mean, he's got it done very quickly. He's managed to force 2 great chances in 7 seconds there.
If you're looking for speed, Matthew Hall will get in and match you all day long. Valley's tried to outrun him on the front, but now we have Tom stepping up for Parkour 59 to try and do the same. This is going to be speed demon on speed demon on speed demon, and what a match we're seeing.
Parkour 59. Athletes ready!
Well, here comes Tom, and the tag is made. And he is on Ethan Grindle, I beg your pardon, but it does mean that Parkour 59 are still 1-0 up, and you can hear the French fans. There's a lot of support for Parkour 59 in here.
And then we go, now we've got Matthew Hall on the chaser plate. Sorry, apologies back home. All these white boys look the same. We've got Tom setting up on the sisters, and Matthew Hall setting up on the chaser plate. Let's see what goes down.
Yeah, now it is time for Matthew Hall. Tom manages, well, it looked like he might get away, but you were quite right. The speed, everything is happening at 1,000,000 miles an hour here.
Yep, to get inside that tilted cube. 1-2 on the feet, straight dive, and you can see he's gone all the way over his head while holding onto that mountain ramp. This is the Ludi dive, made famous by Jared Ludi, and it is one of the tag index special moves of Parkour, of World Chase Tag.
Time for Arsene, another one of the young kids, and wow, things are happening very quickly down there.
That ridge infiltration, there was nothing stopping him. It looked like that didn't even exist. He just melted straight through the metal bars. We got a Terminator situation here. The old T2 slipping straight through the metal bars, getting that tag, and fresh energy now for Parkour 59 to continue their dominance on this match.
Well, it's only a 1-point lead. Parkour 59 are looking pretty lightning. It's Bennett Person who comes in here for Nix, as the US champions try to drag themselves back against the French champions. And Bennett up on the sisters, tries to find a way through. Arsene sails through the ridge, go around by the loading bay, under the mountain, to the tilted cube, and it's another youngster who's in the points for Parkour 59.
Yeah, Arsene coming in from the youth league, the academies. He's been training up since he was a young boy, and now he is a slightly older boy. And there is the evasion made by the loading bay, juking his opponent into the loading bay to waste the time so he could get away right there. Great baiting, being able to lure his opponent there.
Can Arsene double up, just like his fellow 16-year-old Gavin did in the opening match? Parkour 59, no he can't. The dive comes in at the base of the mountain. Matthew Hall getting the job done for Nix.
Would have been crazy to see the double right there, especially against Matthew Hall, such a competitor. Some of the best chasers out there, Matthew Hall being able to compete not only on Hollywood Freerunners, but now cultivating this absolute ace team in Nix and bringing them all the way to Worlds. Let's see what Gavin can do now to continue that winning streak.
Well, they've just been terrorized by one 16-year-old, then in comes another. It is children that are posing problems, really serious problems for Nix. It's like the village of the damned. They keep on coming. But Gavin keeps on trying to find a way through, and there's only a few seconds left. Can he force another opportunity? It looked like he could. There has to be a dive. There was. I'm not sure he got there. I'm not sure he got there.
Now, I've seen a couple of DTR responses through Gavin, but that chase was mental. To see him sprint around the whole time, at a certain point, I could see Matthew Hall just gave up on tactics and was like, I think I just need to sprint. If I just keep my feet moving, this guy purely cannot get close to me. Gavin has called the tag, but that isn't the tag that we've just seen in the replay. That's not the tag that the DTR is supposing. It is a tag from earlier on in the match, where I saw him put his hand up mid-chase to say, yep, cool, this tag has been made. And then the DTR now will be reviewed upon that chase.
Ooh,
so
now.
Matthew Hall sitting down, getting a little bit of a study lesson, seeing where he might have messed up. Detention maybe for one of these small students. Let's see. Oh, well, interesting.
We've got a good camera angle, and it's very close, but I don't Look, there is a ripple of the shirt,
wrist,
but I don't think that's obvious enough to suggest there's definitely contact.
I think his shoulder dropped. I think the shirt ripple is due to grabbing the bar. I don't think it's got anything to do with Gabin. I think it was I think it was a complete whiff, just complete air. So he's reaching out, and he's reaching out for nothing but air. There's gas in his wake.
Whiff is a technical chase tag term, yes?
I think it comes from OCR, actually.
No,
so you can whiff a bell. You know when you're doing OCR, you're doing the old monkey bars?
Right.
You get to the end, if you reach for that bell and you miss, it's a whiff.
We have a decision. Evasion, and Knicks are back in it. Matthew Hall.
By the skin of his teeth and the rubber on his trainers, getting right across that front line, and again sprinting out to get as much distance as possible. That DTR, the TV right there, Dan, might need to have its own DTR after people smash into it. I'm seeing a lot of athletes jumping out of a quad in that exact direction. If you smash the DTR review, maybe there's no more DTRs for the rest of the tournament. It might be a little play there.
I don't know how many tellies we've got. In comes Hugo Boczynski as we enter the second half of this match. It is still advantage Parkour 59, but that lead has been cut in half. Can Knicks, who were beaten by Dexterity in a sudden death game, can they beat Parkour 59 from 2-0 down? That really would put the cat amongst the pigeons in this group. Matthew Hall, under the mountain. Hugo Boczynski, fresh, into action. Matthew Hall, oh wow, that is a real stack from Hugo Boczynski. He bounces back up, but Matthew Hall, he's caught him by the ridge.
Yeah, you can see the pressure's on for Matthew, and under pressure he's starting to crack. Not looking for his player is. As he's running, he's trying to get that evasion. He is fast, he's got the technique, but he needs to know where the chaser is coming from. He needs to keep his eyes on Hugo the whole time, and he could have spent a little bit more time here at the loading bay before sprinting down, and that's where he got tagged in the open under the ridge.
Hugo stays on, looking to restore that 2-point advantage that Parkour 59 had. Nick Amblo jumps up and can't make the tag at the top of the mountain. Can he find a way through the tilted cube? Yes, he can. He got the knee. Slams the boundary boards in celebration.
Big reach on Nick Amblo, and even more impressive, he's able to squeeze that long reach and that long body type into those bars at the tilted cube. Great use of the Viper there. This is sort of a penguin slide as we come through, and then raising up the head just as you come out of that second set of bars to get the tag.
Touching moments as Valley blew a kiss. And Nick Amblin gratefully accepted it. He'll be hoping that's the only thing that gets near him as far as Valley's concerned, but he'll have to take the tag as well.
So Valley there, you see as he's getting to the ridge down, he's putting one foot through the ridge just to telegraph, look, I could come through if I want. There's no way you can go back this way. You have to move on to the loading bay. He's pushing him out, he's herding him to the loading bay, and then at that point of the loading bay, he's already started to sprint up the mountain, and it's a straight line from the inside of the ridge to get that tag on the mountain wall.
It's Matthew Hall in again for Knicks, trying to turn this game around, the former Hollywood free runner. Valley using his pace to get around the outside. Look at that, both of them spinning around, grabbing hold of the bars. Valley by the sisters, just trying to get a bit sketchy, but look, when he gets going, he is so quick. Matthew Hall trying to find a way through, Valley under the mountain, to the tilted cube! It's another point, his second of the match for Valley Sultani.
Absolute star of the show here, Valley getting it. And there's a big hug to Matt. Say, look, well done, good try. What a superstar. Getting 2 evasions here. Fantastic work from Valley, bringing it home for Parkour 59. This means if he can double up and get this next evasion, they have won this match. And if he doesn't, they're still in amazing standings to continue this match and take the win in the end. What can
he wrap it up? Valley Sultani can't escape the long arms of Michael Frazier, but it is still a 3-1 lead that they hold, and it remains match point because Michael Frazier must evade and then evade again to level the game. There would be one more chase left. A hat-trick here from Frazier would be one of the most sensational turnarounds we've ever seen in the history of World Chase Tag.
Parkour 59. Athletes ready!
Gabin Pariel. Oh, too quick, and that gives Michael Frazier a few extra seconds to compose.
And I think he might need it because we are going to have a Gabin, but also we have got a bunch of other fast players there for Parkour 59 that might come in after him. The energy output Michael Frazier is going to have to show. You talked about athleticism earlier, Dan. I'm going to need to see it right now.
going to have to use every ounce of skill and strength and speed if he is going to turn this game around for Nix. Lost his footing momentarily, uses the bar to keep on going, but as he made the wrong decision, he turned into trouble, and Gabin Perret, he was evaded earlier on in this one as Nix threatened to get back into it. But Gabin Perret seals the deal, and Parkour 59 follow up their 3-0 win earlier against the Crow with a 3-1 win against the American champions Nix. The French national champions beat the American national champions. Things are not looking good for Nix, but they're looking good for PK59. And Greg Ball is quadside, trying to convince them to talk to him, but he seems deeply unpopular. Will nobody talk to this man? I promise you he's nice, annoying as he may be. There we go, we're going to go quadside with Greg Ball, who's got Parkour 59 with him.
Firstly, guys, dominant performance. That's your second win here today against the US champions. You got 2 evasions there. How are you feeling?
I feel crazy, you know, like it's my dream to be a world champion. And 2 evasion in with American champion of America, you know, like it's not normal.
Yeah, sure. And hey, well done. And Gabon as well. Do you guys have any words to say to your French fans over here?
What?
Love you all! That's nice. Gabon, one word from you. You're quickly becoming the star of the show out here. How do you feel?
Oh, my feeling is always good. I love my team. My team is strong, and let's go champion.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think you can do it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys. Parkour 59, we'll see you soon.
2 wins from 2 then for the French national champions. They are living up to the billing as the big dogs in this Group B. Let's show you what the standings are, shall we? Because Parkour 59 are top of the table with 2 wins out of 2. Dexterity. Let's get rid of that because we've got another game coming.
Versus UGEN.
So UGEN coming back in action against ParkourMan. They started off with a victory against the Crow. ParkourMan, having been beaten by the Crow and then lost out to Dexterity Depot, they're in danger of turning into the whipping boys of this group, and that was not how it panned out for them when they made their World Championship debut. When they did manage to go all the way to the quarterfinals. They have shown flashes, Connor, but they're going to have to show a little bit more than that if they are going to start moving up the table from where they are.
Yeah, right off the back of a win, I've got high hopes here for UGEN coming into the arena. They are walking up, and I would love to see what these English boys can do to bring it to the world stage. Haroon just saunting his way into the arena. No haste in him. Everyone else is getting a little jog, getting into position. Haroon couldn't give him the time of day. He doesn't care. Cool cat.
He is a cool cat, and he has produced possibly the coolest evasion we have seen. We've seen some spectacular stuff already today, but we have not seen something quite like the evasion that Haroon produced in their opening game against the Crow that helped set them on their way to victory, that 2-0 win.
The goading can. The goading always gets me, and it gets in your head. If you're ever on these quads, and you can be on these quads, by the way, this isn't just a spectator sport. There are plenty of quads around the world. Check out worldchasetag.com to locate your nearest gym to play in. But when you are on that quad, the pressure is insane. And to have someone goad you, it makes it even harder.
Sam Van Rijn is starting off for UGEN as the evader, and it is Fung Bin who is trying to get hold of him. He jumped on the sisters. He managed to get out of the way of him there. How has he managed to do that? Sam Van Rijn around the outside. Onto the sisters again. He's not hanging around this time, and Fung Bin's not going to get him, is he? Yes, he is. Oh, it felt like that 20 seconds went on for hours.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Sam didn't really have a choice there. He had to go high to keep the speed. He didn't have enough time left on the clock to be able to slide his way to victory. But here we're seeing just earlier on in the match being able to get round the outside. This is his signature move, Dan. This stutter step that he's got, being able to get onto the edge of the outside of the sisters and second guess his opponent to be able to go back once he came from.
The other Dutch member of the team, Dave Hogenboom, into the action as Fung Bin goes on top of the mountain, drops down around the outside, gets to the ridge and stops and waits. And now he goes again. Dave Hogenboom, well, he nearly went underneath him there. grabs hold of that loading bay to stop himself and send it back round the other way, but that is a tag. HoganBohm ended up out of the quad. It did not matter, the tag was made.
You know it's a solid, clear tag when both players, Evada and Chester, end up on their back, on the floor, in different areas of the room. One inside the quad, one outside the quad. Dave is now setting up for that evasion opportunity, and he is starting in that signature position of the Sand Stutter. Let's see if he can make it confusing as ever.
Sun Punan into the action for the first time in this one. Dave HoganBohm cutting across the center of the quad. Not hanging around. Here he waits a little, but not much. He's flushed out. And now it's turned into a race around the outside, and Dave HoganBohm has got speed. We know that. He gets up onto the mountain, drops into the tilted cube. Under the sisters this time. And that will do it for Dave HoganBohm. He puts another point on the board for UGEN. They're first in this contest and they lead.
And it's a matter of matching your skill set, finding the strengths of your players versus the weaknesses of your opposing players. Right now I'm seeing ParkourMan not that comfortable at height, not that comfortable with these high line routes that Dave is able to put down there. Getting that high line at the back got him the win there just by putting the distance between him and the chaser.
Dave HoganBohm on the sisters, turns around and goes back the other way, but the tag is made pretty quickly. The lead remains at 1-0.
Again, sisters look pretty strong as soon as he reaches the ground. We've got Logang being able to close in the distance and get him there by the lazy boy at the front of the quad. I'd say keeping himself on the sisters, a little double juke and then bopping it back across to the tilted cube would have helped him there, because then we're in a higher EQ area and he can use that high line to evade at height.
Haroon Hanafi exchanging some words with the other members of ParkourMan. Not sure what was said, not sure how much Chinese or English either of them speak. The tag is claimed, but it's not been decisive, so he has to carry on the chase here, Haroon. Seems, oh my word, that could have been painful, but he's back up and having another go, and there the tag is made, and Haroon Hanafi, he's moaning, saying you knew you were tagged, but it's all ended okay for UGEN because the tag was eventually grabbed.
I'd assume, knowing Haroon, there was some nasty words said at the beginning to put him off, and then when he's got the tag, it seems clear to Haroon. It might not seem clear to Logang, but we're seeing Logang then be able to continue the chase as he should, just to make sure if there's a DTR, it can happen after the match.
Well, Haroon produced that sensational evasion earlier on. Can he produce another one here? Round by the ridge. What has he got to say for himself? Round by the front line, trying to stride away with pace. Holds on to the sisters, hops back around to the front line. He's done it again. He has done it again, Haroon Hanafi.
As I can't even imagine how he didn't drop down onto his bum on the outside of those sisters. As he steps over here, it looks like he is within a finger's reach of slipping out, and then that little jump over to that stride across the border. Great work there by Haroon, keeping his footwork, keeping himself clear, keeping balance, and keeping him in the game.
Haroon Hanafi clinging on by his fingernails to the sisters. He picks up a second evasion. Jittering around there, and then eventually just runs into the mountain, and he knew his time was up. Lee Yi-ki makes the tag, but Haroon Hanafi had already doubled UGEN's lead.
Yeah, Lee Yi-ki stepping in now at chase 8. We're at the halfway point, and they are going to need to start making some moves and hopefully getting some evasions on the board if they want to stay in this match as well as the overall tournament.
Well, their last game tonight is against Nix, and they'll play Parkour 59 tomorrow in their final group game. It's not looking good for ParkourMan as things stand. And in comes Richard Thompson, who drops down, makes the tag by the ridge very, very straightforwardly. It's the halfway point is reached. It is 2-0 to UGEN. And they're getting things done here. 2-0 against the Crow, 2-0 up at half-time against ParkourMan. They are doing what is asked of them so far in this tournament.
Yep, for sure surprised. UGEN have managed to pull it out of the bag and make that happen. I would love to see them pull it through and get to the later stages in this competition.
Logang back in action as Richard Thompson gets up high onto the mountain. Goes round the outside of the sisters. Logang is reaching out, and he had a couple of swipes that couldn't make contact. And now he goes under the mountain. Richards up high again. Takes that high line. Stops. Goes. And that might be that. That might be that. Richard Thompson celebrating before the 20 seconds was up because he knew what was happening. It's 3-0 UGEN.
Running the clock, looking strong, getting to the end going, yeah, I know what the time is. I know exactly where I'm at. Well done, Richard. As I said, Sam, taking these high lines is the strong suit right now. I think that is a smart move. When you match skill against skill, you've got to work on what your opponents are weakest at.
UGEN getting the job done and doing so with their trademark swagger, and that kind of felt like he just stopped and let him have the tag.
Yeah, again, they've got 3-0 lead at this point. It wouldn't surprise me if UGEN start taking it a little easier, just focusing on the tags, not worrying too much about the evasions. They've got quite the lead. It will help them with an evasion difference if it does come down to that in the grouping. But at the end of the day, they are securing that W at chase 11. They've only got a few more chases until match point.
Well, in comes Dane. His first action in this one. Lee Yi-ki drops down to the tilted cue. Dane goes through the bars but can't make contact. Really good scrambling from him. Doesn't quite manage to get there. He goes down low. Can't quite keep the pace up there, but he's got his man in the corner, but not for very long because Lee Yi-ki's away. Lee Yi-ki is away, and it is a point for ParkourMan. And maybe this isn't over just yet.
Now, the thing with ParkourMan you got to understand is this isn't the first time they've been down and out, and it's not the first time they've managed to turn around those tables. We have seen them go on evasion streaks in previous worlds, so let's see if Lee Yi-ki can get it done.
Lee Yi-ki v Sam Van Ryn as ParkourMan try to work their way back into this contest, having trailed 3-0. Lee goes around the outside of the sisters. Sam up high on the platforms there and then drops down to make the tag before he gets away under the ridge. It's still a 2-point advantage that UGEN holds.
Yeah, great dive there by Sam, being able to get over the front line and over that diagonal bar we're seeing on the front line to get that sprint. He's holding on to that upright bar and then getting that extra reach as he reaches around the corner to secure the tag.
This would wrap it up. Match point UGEN, the only British team in this tournament. But it is a Dutchman who is straddling the sisters right now, looking to wrap this up. Well, that's the buzzer.
The false start going on, Dan.
False start, so...
I wouldn't be surprised if Sam is going to drop straight through underneath the sisters. That's my prediction here.
And head cross quad?
Nope, underneath the sisters, he's going to drop straight down.
Athletes ready!
Connor predicted he drops down. He does drop down, but not into the middle of the sisters. He goes back around the sisters, though, over to the front line. And Sun Poonan tries to get hold of him, unable to do so. Sam Van Ryn doing a lot of work around the sisters and by the lazy boy. Now he goes across the other side of the quad and under the ridge. Sam Van Ryn up onto the mountain, looking to wrap this up. Hops onto the sisters. That'll wrap it up. It is a 4-1 domination for UGEN, who are looking pretty strong at the start of this year's World Championship, as ParkourMan are in danger of sinking without trace.
Dan, I am upset, to be fair. I mean, I love to see a UK team succeed, but I wanted to see ParkourMan come across the pond. I wanted to get them all the way over from China to get some success here in this world after they didn't quite make it through in that last WCT6. I know they are a phenomenal force, holding 3 championships in the Chinese National League, but to see them come to Worlds and get this result, just, yeah, blows my buzz, man.
Well, look, let's see if we can show you the schedule, the matches that we have seen and the matches that are coming up in this session. Because we are 7 games down, 5 more to come.
First, Dexterity Depot.
Dexterity Depot back in action. We've already seen them play Nix and ParkourMan. 1 sudden death win against their fellow Americans and then an outright win against ParkourMan. They now go head-to-head with the Crow. Aaron Lucas has looked particularly sharp. Roland Hannigan has shown his trademark bursts of pace. Alex Mosley has been heavily used so far, and Paul Fisher, when needed, has stood up and been counted.
First, the Crow.
But the Crow, who started off in their hometown of Ovry with that victory over ParkourMan, they were competitive for the first half against Parkour 59 before sinking to a 3-0 defeat, and then kind of didn't really make enough of an impact against UGEN. It was a strong start. They don't want to fade. They need to put a stop to that if they are going to be competitive for the rest of this group.
Yeah, the Crow coming into their third event here today in this tournament. We want to make sure that they can make the most of it. They've only got 5 chances to get through to that semi-final tomorrow. So we've got 4 today, 1 final match played tomorrow. Let's see if their players have recovered from a little bit of a thrashing, if I'm being honest. It wasn't great to see the home turf favourites of the Crow get taken out by an English team. So let's see what they can do against the Yanks.
Well, this will be the final game that the Crow play tonight. They will return tomorrow to face the American champions, Knicks. But Dexterity Depot have already beaten Knicks in sudden death tonight. It doesn't look like this is any easier an assignment. It certainly doesn't when Aaron Lucas is on the quad.
Great little duel there, a little bit of an impasse, deciding, okay, are you going to go and am I going to go? Are you going to go and am I going to go? And eventually Aaron Lucas descending from the skies to get that tag in the same place the chase started, it ended.
10 seconds to Dexterity Depot evading 0 all.
Well, Dexterity have come a cropper by saying about the rivalry between the USA and France in the past. They haven't been quite as vocal this time, but maybe once bitten, twice shy.
I think they've got their eyes set on Hollywood, to be fair, Dan.
Well, Aaron Lucas under the sisters here, round to the tilted cube. Zachariah dives through there and does get the tag, so it remains 0-0.
And if the tag hadn't been made, Aaron has already jumped straight out of the quad to land on that concrete outside of the border. Next up, we've got Paul Fraser getting comfortable with the floor on the chaser plate, starting nice and low, animalistic, getting the dust out of his shoes, and Zachariah underneath the mountain.
0 all. Athletes ready!
Paul Fisher has looked pretty sharp so far. Can he continue that? Drops down, does not manage to make the tag on Zachariah. He's got time to make more opportunities, and getting up on the bars there, the tilted cube gave him that opportunity, and it's one that he took in accomplished manner.
Yeah, great mount there. Paul being able to come up and stall on the corner of the tilted cube, giving himself options. Zachariah's only option really as an evader is to run back under that mountain and make some speed underneath there, or cut up and try and get some sort of reverse mounting go situation using that middle bar. But he did not do either, and that is why he got tagged.
Andy into the action. Seen plenty of quad time so far tonight, Andy. Paul Fisher stopping at the sisters and then going underneath the mountain, heading towards the ridge, keeping his eyes on his chaser. Just waiting, little juke there, then goes round the sisters, does not want to hang around. Under the mountain once again to go to the ridge. It's that same route and it works, and it's arms raised in celebration as Dexterity Depot take the lead, courtesy of Paul Fisher.
And there is that first point on the board, Paul securing it for the match. As we know, this is a game of not many evasions. You guys have seen this on the live stream already. As we're coming up to a win, it might be 1-0, it might be 3-0. We're not looking at 5 or 6, so this one can be quite an important advantage. There are still chases to play for, but they have secured a very early, decent point.
Well, in comes Killian, and Killian gets the job done quite quickly.
Yeah, there's the hand tag, a nice little snipe from him, choosing his tag accurately and getting the trailing hand of Paul as he goes underneath the ridge.
Real awareness from the chaser with those snipe tags, though. You see the hand, you can just get it, and then it just solves so many problems for you.
Solves the problems if you get it. If you miss, all of a sudden you've spent time reaching for a bar when the human isn't there. I mean, you've got to try and find that evader later on. It can be a good waste of time from an evader's perspective, Dan.
Well, in comes Roland, a man who tends not to waste a great deal of time in anything he does. And he sets off trying to get Killian. Swings around the lazy boy, but can't manage to make it work. Tries to cut off the angle and heads round after him. And once again, Roland back in his pace, and this time it worked out.
Yeah, the intensity of Roland Hannigan on the quad cannot be understated. And I think the key to that intensity isn't being big in the upper body, it's being fast in the lower body. And not just big strides. There's lots of quick little steps, so you can't count on where your chase is going to come from, because it looks like he could change direction at any moment.
1-0 Dexterity. Athletes ready!
This Zachariah back into action. And there's the hop up from that bar for the middle of the mountain from Roland Hannigan. Doesn't hang around there long. Open ground juking. Then back round to the sisters. Ghosts around there. Zachariah reaches out and gets him though.
Yeah, except for maybe just getting in the head of the other player. I don't know how much that first maneuver really gave Roland. Now, it gave him a couple of seconds of evasion time, but eventually it went into open ground anyway on the front line, and that's where he fumbled it. So he could have done with spending a little bit more time, maybe on the right side of the quad by the ridge, by the loading bay, and that's where you might get your evasion a little bit more often.
Tim Dexter charged, coming in for his team, the captain, looking to preserve their 1-0 lead here against the Crow. The hometown team, not just the host nation team. They're from right here in Every, and that, every time Tim Dexter's going to get you from that position.
Not every time, but the fact that he's reading his player down here is really interesting, because Zachary is obviously having to make a decision, should I go left or right, and Tim is able to perch there and not choose to drop down. As he's dropped down one time, he's regained that position again, decided, okay, no, this is where it's going to play out, this is where I'm going to get this duel, but you need to make a mistake for me to be able to capitalize on it.
Valentin Boulali into the action. Tim Dexter, can he get the evasion that would double his team's lead as we enter the second half of this contest? Under the rip, threatening to go one way then the other, then decides to go all the way across the quad to the sisters. Doesn't want to hang around there. There's a little spin from Valentin as he changes direction, but Tim Dexter, oh! I don't even know if he was attempting to stop there or whether he just got tangled up.
I think that was a tangle, Dan. I can't see a foot being clear on that first sister. I think that he'd slipped out from one foot, and that's caused the trip here. We see on the replay as he's going over. Yeah, I think if he wanted to have stopped there, he would have put that foot on the bar. The left foot would have come up on the bar, the right foot on the border, but he wanted to continue, but then just didn't have the right balance for that to happen.
Well, Valentin made the tag and robbed his hat, and now he gets to stay on as he looks to level this game up for the Crow. And it's Alex Mosley, one of their go-to taggers, who gets the job done and preserves their lead.
Yeah, and although Valentin is underneath the mountain, he has no cover there. Alex being able to close the distance and get that tag, setting them up. They're already 1-0. What can Alex do to continue that streak? Is he looking to get an evasion now? We've got Alex, one of the star players for the Crow, ready to see if he can shut down this evasion opportunity.
Andy comes in, Alex Mosley by the ridge. Goes down low, managed to avoid his man, then decides to go up onto the mountain. He's very happy going up on that route, but Andy got in a bit of a mix there, got in a bit of a muddle. And there was a big dive there, just went with both hands flailing. He felt it was going to happen, he made it happen.
Yeah, recovered from that little perch on the end of the tilted cube, a little slip up there, recovered from that, got back into center to be able to push Alex somewhere onto the front line where that EQ is lower. After that stumble there, we got that recovery, back into center control, deciding left, right, and we're down. There's the acceleration, there's the dive, and there's contact made on the front line.
Aaron Lucas into the action, and into the action very decisively.
Now, one of the things I saw for the Crow is they had really good ridge game, being able to get in and out of this ridge position, both from an evader point of view and a chaser. But it still looks like there's a bit of a gap between the American stratagem and technique when it comes to that ridge control compared to the French teams.
1-0 dexterity.
Aaron Lucas trying to hype the crowd up. I'm not sure we'll get much of a response, to be honest, when you're playing the team from Ovry, but they do lead it. And they're looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 with the start of this, but Aaron Lucas does not extend the lead. It remains just 1 point in it.
Yeah, Zachariah getting a textbook threaded tag there. Not quite a Viper, he's not sliding through, but he is able to push and get that reach. He's actually long enough to reach the length of the tilted cube to get Aaron on the open side. The open side there offering not much cover at all, and that is where the tag was made.
1-0
Paul Fisher, the man whose evasion put dexterity ahead in just the 4th chase of this match. Sent back in to try and get hold of Zachariah and give them a match point, and that's exactly what he's done. He's done it so quickly, Paul Fisher, that he's not expended a huge amount of energy as he now has a match point situation for dexterity. Their next game will be against Parkour 59. Are they going to go in with a sudden death win against Nix and then back-to-back wins against ParkourMan and the Crow? It's not perfect, but it's almost as good as it could be.
Match point dexterity.
Killian Tonnerre, if he does make the tag, he will have a chance to take this level and go to sudden death. Killian trying to get hold of Paul. He jumps away from the sisters. He's going, no, he's not going to the sisters. Sometimes
panic. Pure panic.
You know what's coming.
That would have been match point if Paul had managed to get the evasion. It would have worked out for them. Unfortunately, they are off, which allows the Crow a little bit of hope. The Crow now need to get the work done. We got Killian here on the quad. If they, on chase 16, can get this evasion, they can go to sudden death and hopefully wrap up with that little draw consolation prize.
Roland Hannigan, if he tags, they win it outright. If he does not, then we go to sudden death. They could still win it in sudden death, but it wouldn't be the full 3 points. Roland Hannigan trying to find an opportunity, and again the pace, and this time the tag is given, and that will do it. It is a narrow win, but an outright win within the 16 chasers for Dexterity Depot. They managed to beat Nix in sudden death. They managed to come through against ParkourMan, and now they have beaten the Crow as well. And let's see if we can get an interview with Dexterity, whose next game, whose final game tonight will be against the favourites in this group, Parkour 59. And they have gone into it on something of a roll. Greg is down on the quad with Aaron Lucas, and I think they might grab Paul Fisher as well.
Oh, you want them to face the crowd, right? Let's do a little switcheroo over here. Aaron, Paul, absolutely fantastic performance again. Firstly, you said you came here to have fun. That looked a bit dicey, but did you have fun?
It was fun, yes. It was very fun. It's more fun when you get a point, too.
Yeah, for sure. And you obviously started it off with 2 evasions in one of your previous matchups as well. That was fantastic. Who are you excited to face from Group B if you do get through? From Group A, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on that side looks incredible. I mean, we've obviously played Hollywood in different local comps. I think it'd be really good to have a matchup with them, since the last time we played them was in Arlington, our first really ever match, and it was after crawling our way back up, so it'd be cool to get a rematch against them.
And who do you think makes it out of the group second, out of obviously Nimbus, Rooftop Kings?
I'd love to see an all-US final, obviously. It would be great to come here, but you know, I think right now, Rooftop is looking good, Fakao is looking amazing. Yeah, sure. So I think it could be a toss-up at the end of the day.
Nice, well, good luck to you guys. Good to see you out there as well, man. Very, very well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
There we go. Well, look, Dexterity Depot are doing what is required of them. They are winning every game. One of them, yes, in sudden death against their fellow Americans. But the real crunch game is the one they are yet to play tonight, the penultimate game of the night against Parkour 59. If they could spring a surprise there, Connor, and win it, then even the top spot is very much a possibility for them.
Yep, and it's all still to play for. I mean, Parkour 59 have still got 2 more matches. Dexterity's been their last one, but the next one now will be UGEN. And it'll be interesting to see what UGEN can do up against the French favourites, because UGEN have already surprised us today. Not expecting them to come in just as strong. They've had some issues with players. They've had transfer issues, they've had injury issues, and they are pushing through regardless. Haroon is looking top form. Best form I've ever seen him, to be fair, and to see Dane getting back on the quad and dusting off those cobwebs is great to see him pushing his legs, getting him out there and getting onto the world stage after so many years.
Well, 2 wins out of 2 for UGEN, but this is the yardstick by which everybody will be measured in this Group B. Naeem Street and his Parkour 59 team. It not only appears they have unearthed a diamond in Gabin Pariel, but it would appear that Arsène Coupin and Vali Sultani are also real finds for the academy system here in France.
Yeah, absolute weapons. If we're not cultivating the next generation when we are playing our sport, we are not doing something right, Dan. You want to make sure it's not just superstars that are at the top of their game, but we're cultivating those, that whole ecosystem that allows people to come up and get to the pro level at this stage. Now you see, these guys have a stacked roster, and we haven't even seen Naeem on the quad today. It'd be interesting to see that team captain get out there and get a few solid chasers in.
Well, look, is this really the old stagers versus the young guns? You've got Naeem, you've got Hugo Boyczynski, but with a couple of 16-year-olds in this Parkour 59 team, going up against the vast experience of the likes of Richard Thompson and Haroon Hanafi. It does feel like a clash of generations.
2 wins for UGEN so far, 2 wins for Parkour 59. It's all still to play for in this match, and I think this will be one of the most decisive matches of this groupings.
Well, let's see where UGEN really are at. Naeem Street starting things off, and an energetic start at that, with Sam van Rijn trying to track him down. He moves excellently through the loading bay, and that allowed him the opportunity to grab Naeem at the top of the mountain. And now we're all pulling faces and then hugging. What do they mean?
It's all love on the quad today. We've seen Naeem being a little bit of terror, to be fair, but that sprint try that he had put him around the quad 2 times before Sam was able to close that down on the top of the mountain with a nice open tag on the high line.
A few words in the ear of 16-year-old Arsène Coupin from Naeem Street. As Arsène looks to find a way through, and there's a swipe there, and it looks like he got the knee of Sam van Rijn to keep the scores level.
Yeah, the old diagonal Viper there, being able to slide through that tilt cube. I haven't seen that exit. Usually we are doing it either vertically or diagonally, so vertically or horizontally, but he's hit the diagonal Viper there to get that tag. Arsène now setting up for the opportunity for an evasion for Parkour 59.
16-year-old Arsène Coupin versus Richard Thompson, the veteran. The veteran, the old dog. Oh, now then, was he taught a new trick there? No, he was not. Arsène couldn't get away. Real nimble stuff from Richard to change direction when he was on the second sister there.
Almost getting away from it, but not quite. It was ambitious to stop that right there, especially after UGEN have played a lot with the sister game. They have managed to get that stam stutter down. They know where you're going to stop and how you're going to stop, and Richard expected it. Even here, you can see he's like, oh, okay, I know what you're doing. I've got your number, and there's the tag there.
Well, in comes Hugo. You could hear the chant from the crowd. Richard Thompson knows all about this man, but that has not gone to plan, has it?
Abort mission, abort mission. Houston, we might have a problem. Richard just ran straight out of the quad. I feel like he gave up on that tag before it even started. And Hugo looks genuinely disappointed in his competitor. He's like, I was ready to tag you, man. I was ready to get a chase in. What was that? So it's an automatic win. That is a no contest tag counted for Hugo, moving into chase 5.
Haroon Hanafi discards his own hat. He's given Naeem Street's hat. He discards that as well. Haroon Hanafi means business. Certainly, from what we've seen so far from him today, he means business. Can he get the business done against Hugo Borczynski? Racing around the outside, these two rangy competitors. There's a misstep there from Haroon, but he doesn't let it prove terminal. Trying to find a way through, and of course he's found a way through. Has he? I mean, he did tag him with his foot to the back of the head. I assume there was a hand on there as well.
Yeah, I was expecting an RKO from that sort of height, being able to drop down. We want to see some clean play here, but sometimes you don't have the option. Obviously, Hugo's done the slip first. He didn't expect Hugo to fall over, and then he's obviously come down, Haroon, from the air, and decided to try and adapt as best as he can to get that tag as clean as he could.
A late decision by the looks of it for Gabin Paré.
And a word from the coach in his ear.
He's very much playing the captain's role, the veteran Naeem Street here. Gabin trying to track down Haroon. The 16-year-old goes after him, reaches up and can't get him. Took a moment to recover, and another one where they've just completely aborted it.
2 for 2. I think UGEN have found their new move. This is their special move. It's walking away from trouble. When they see trouble coming, Gabin's right on his tail, and he's decided, yeah, look, this isn't worth it. I don't think I can get out of this. I don't think I can get the evasion. I'm just going to escape the quad, call it what it is, and let Sam do my work for me.
Sometimes it takes the bigger man to walk away, but unfortunately you won't get any points in chase tag by doing it. Sam van Rijn into the action. Gabin Paré under the ridge. Round by the front line. Goes to the sisters, stops, waits. Sam says hello, there's the tag.
And there we go. He can be stopped after all. Gabin is not bulletproof. We have found some kryptonite in Sam van Rijn, and he's got that tag there. Securing the tag is good, but I've actually been told here that we have got a ref on site for Haroon. Seems to be that Haroon could only last a couple of matches uninjured, and then here he is getting some medical attention.
I see, so the medic's having a look at Haroon. Only a matter of time, you would have thought. But here comes Valley, who's been really, really exciting when we've seen him in action so far. Can he get hold of Sam van Rijn? He's just waiting, biding his time. But how much time has he got? He looked like he was trying to force an opening there, but couldn't make it happen. Tries to cut him off at the corner. Sam van Rijn! Lying down under the sisters as Valley Sultani just spins around uselessly in the end. And that means that Parkour 59, the favourites in this group, trail.
And Sam ending the chase in style on the ground, under his favorite obstacle, laying down, being like, yep, you know what it is. I got that evasion.
Sam Van Rijn. Can he double up? Arsene, another youngster. Wow, look at that.
No chance, no chance. Completely knew where he's going. There's a projection. Sam's like, all right, fair play. The 16-year-old can play. He got me fair thinkums right there at the back of the mountain. The thing is, if you're in that mountain situation, you need to make sure the chaser is on your tail for it to work and to get the distance. If they're perpendicular to you, they're just going to come straight up from that ramp and run into the air, and there's nothing to block you before the tag.
Haroon Hanafi, if he has had medical treatment, he's just lifted up Naeem Street to take him away from Dove Hogenboom, to stop any trash talk that might be happening. Dave trying to get hold of Arsene here, the 16-year-old tearing off around the front line at pace. Dave Hogenboom trying to find a way through, gets into the loading bay, moving one way then the other, but Arsene's too quick. He's got away, he's under the sisters, and the 16-year-old has leveled things up for the French champions.
Bringing it back, playing with the big dogs. The experience level that these guys are up against is world class. And Arsene just getting a moment to take it all in, enjoy the fans before resetting and getting ready for this next matchup.
He's seen off Hogenboom. Can he see off Richard Thompson? Starting by the ridge again, Arsene. This time drops back to the loading bay, back to the ridge now. We're going to do little shuttle runs along there, but that's forced out by Richard Thompson, who pulls out of that one to come back to the centre. Tries to force a way through there, and he does manage to create the chance, and you enjoyed that one, Connor.
Yeah, great cut by Richard then, choosing not to trail, the much faster player. Let's not be funny, this might be a 16-year-old, but he has got some fast legs, and he can do some real great work on those bars. Richard choosing to cut back in, disengage from the tail, regain his bearings, and then attack him, and that is when he made some advantage and got the tag there by the tilted cube. And there we go. We've got on the... Tom is hunting down Richard now, and he's got that tag through the tilted cube, and Richard's saying, yeah, fair enough. That was a good tag there. Tom setting up. It is still 1-1 right now. All to play for. Tom setting into that same favorite position of UGEN. Just giving Dave a taste of his own medicine. Let's see what he can do with it and see if we can get out a chase 13 of this complete impasse of 1 point to each team.
4 chasers remain. Tom Fair on the quad, waiting at the sisters. Goes into the open ground. Dave anticipated it, but he turned. And over the sisters again, you can hear screams in the crowd here in Auvry-Courcouronnes as Tom Fair tries to avoid Dave Hogenboom and put them into the lead. Hogenboom reaches out and can't get him. There's only a second or two remaining, and look at that, they have turned it around. Parkour 59 trailed at the halfway point, but now lead with just 3 chasers to go.
Consistency, Dan. We're seeing some consistent good tactics played out here by Parkour 59, and Tommy doing real well to make that tag happen as he goes. However, that being said, Dave has contested the evasion. He has decided that that was actually not an evasion, and he thought that he got the tag as we go around here by the lazy boy.
Now he's claiming he caught his hand. He thinks it's here. You can understand why he thinks he might have got it, but I'm not sure on that very brief glimpse we got there, Connor.
Well, when I saw the chase live, I was thinking that was the opportunity that he had to get the tag. As he should have reached out, he should have managed to touch him there. If he'd have dived a little harder, committed a little bit more. But at the end of the day, if you commit too hard, you end up on your back. You end up on the floor. The other player makes an advantage. They get a little bit further away. The more distance they have, the more opportunity they have to get that evasion. So his last chance there was to get the tag around the lazy boy.
Was it there, or was it through the loading bay here?
Ooh, okay. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Now then, when it was live, I did not think he was close, but there was a trailing hand behind Tom there.
Yeah, look, he's double Tom's grabbed the bar twice to move off. Rather than once, he's managed to cross arms and grab it the second time. So there's one hand on, and then that second hand we're seeing as he transfers across. So one hand's already on the left hand. He crosses over to his right hand, and that right hand is the trailing hand that Dave might have touched as it released.
Right, so this is the crucial
there,
point.
on fingers. Ooh, and he closes his fist after a touch. That might have told me everything I need to see here, Dan.
Is it obvious enough, though? Are you seeing enough there for it to be obvious? It is on the tagger to make it obvious.
I don't think it is super obvious, but having seen that reach out, I'm seeing Tommy there. There's a moment where he goes from his hand being out open, and then he closes it close, and he brings it in close to him. And I think where he brings it in close to him, that's where he's felt something touch it.
Oh, tag given, big call here. And it is, well, it has pleased some fans, but not many here.
As the tag red lights go up, so does an ominous boo in the arena.
Dave Hogenbone.
Good call by head ref there, to be able to call that through. Dave setting up the DTR, looking through the footage and making the decision based on that.
So 1-1 it is. And all of a sudden, Dave Hogenbone finds himself in a position where he could put UGEN back in the lead. It looked like Parkour 59 had turned things around. It could be very, very different in a few seconds' time. Look at him go. Valley trying to track him down. Valley with the pace. Just enough pace to get it done. And the celebrations go up from the Parkour 59 fans.
Yeah, coming around the ridge there. Dave just didn't have the legs to keep up. Valley is closing down on him, hunting him down like a heat-seeking missile, and managing to catch him there just on the edge. Dave thinking about, oh, maybe I take the mountain, maybe I cut that corner. There's just no chance. He's already running full speed. The Valley's running at his full speed, which happens to be more than.
And it is match point, Parkour 59. And Valley wrap it up. No, he cannot, because Sam Van Rijn makes the tag, and he makes it quickly, and that means it's match point to UGEN. It all swings around.
Huge deciding match, Dan. Like we say, this is where neither team can come out on top. It has been an impasse so far. We've got 1-1 on the board. If Sam can take this, it will be a decisive win for UGEN. If not, we go to sudden death, in which case both teams get martyred and end up leaving this game with less points than a total win.
Well, Hugo Boczynski is sent in to try and make sure that at the very least the French national champions take it to sudden death. UGEN have battled and fought. They could win it in regular time. Sam Van Rijn could be the man, but he's not going to be, because Hugo gets it done, and it is 1-1 after 16 chases. And so we go to sudden death for the second time tonight. The longest evasion wins. Who would you be looking to go to if you were captaining either of these teams?
Right, if I'm captain of UGEN, I'm sending in, let's have a look. Haroon's injured. Orlando's injured. They were meant to have Mohammed. He's injured. A little bit of a hard pick, to be fair. If I'm captain, it's going to be between Dane, Haroon, depending on the level of injury, or Sam again. I know Sam has just gone. I know that's a hard call because he's already just spent all his energy, but damn, he is good in a tight spot. So I'm going to pick one of these guys. If I am, that's for an evasion, by the way. So I'm only picking evasions because that's what we're looking at to try and get the most time away from another player. So if I'm UGEN, probably Sam if I had to push. If I am Parkour 59, I've got a slew of athletes. I can pretty much flip a coin. Easy money if I'm the captain of, if I'm Naeem Street, the captain of Parkour 59, I can basically pick any young buck to throw them in here, and they are going to do well in an evasion position or a tag position at this stage. Tommy, Valley, Gavin, so many absolute weapons, and they have picked Valley for tagging, which tells me they're probably not going to pick him from an evasion perspective. Probably going to pick Gavin as it comes in later.
Right, well, it's Dave Hogenbone versus Valley Sultani. Dave Hogenbone needs to put as many seconds on this evasion as possible. Valley Sultani tearing off towards him. Hogenbone over the sisters. Valley is right after him. It turns into a race. He might have a problem. He might have a problem. He does have a problem. That is pretty quick. It says 11.17 on our scoreboard. It is probably a second or two quicker than that. It might be a sub 10-second tag.
Yeah, and Valley, look, he's already got Dave's number. He's already managed to speed up and get that tag in the game. Now we're in this sudden death little side mini game to decide who's going to win the draw. Both teams are coming to a draw officially. We need to find who's going to get the bonus point. The bonus points so far looks like it could go either way. We've got that 20-second maximum evasion time, but you do have Gavin stepping up against Sam Van Ryn as a chaser for UGEN. Gavin, Parkour 59, has already got tape on the face from an earlier bang against the bar. Let's see what he can do. Stepping in, he's getting coach in his ear. He's got the crowd on his side, wiping his feet, and he's got a very interesting starting position to try and get the maximum amount of time here, evading Sam Van Ryn. They've got to beat at least 11.17 seconds, but Dan is saying the score that we've got up on the screen right now might not be totally accurate to our configured system. You want to make sure the ref is checking in on what total time we have to beat before we start this next wave of the sudden death.
Well, Sam Van Ryn is perched on the front line there, staring up at the big screen, praying that it's a big number. What is the...
Oh, that's not a big number. If I was to play blackjack, that is a low ball. Quick. That is a quick tag to beat. So he is going to need to get a spike. Something sub 5 would be great for Sam Van Ryn here, and that is a hard task when you've got the Forest Tagger himself, Gavin, setting up for a hard sprint from the front line all the way back to that loading bay.
One successful juke, that might be all it needs.
Yeah,
a little stutter there, and now, and he jukes there, and this might be it, this might be it. Oh, round the back of the mountain! Sam is claiming it. He's claiming he got the hand. He is ripping the shirt off.
The celebration,
he thinks he's won it.
The celebration is in Sam. The refs are in disagreement. We're trying to figure out where this is. Gavin thinks he won. Sam definitely thinks he won. Shirt came off quicker than the tag happened.
Oh my word, this is going to be so difficult to sort out. Gavin goes round the back of that plate at the mountain, thinking he's got enough time. That's all he needs to do. There's no tag on there.
No hand
There's
tag.
a hand there. There's a hand there, though.
Hand before green. I saw hand before green. However, I am English, and I don't want to be biased here.
No, I think you're right.
But
I
that's
think
what I
he
saw.
got the hand.
That's what my eyes saw. I know green's the color of the UGEN shirt too, so we're trying to keep it as non-biased as we can in this stage.
Parkour 59, the two-time French champions, the favourites for this group, might have just lost in sudden death because of that hand tag. It was a creative move, it was an interesting move, hiding behind that plate, but you're going to have the fingers on show, and Sam was smart enough and aware enough to go for the fingers in the final milliseconds. But was it quick enough?
Yeah, and Sam didn't fall for that stutter. We both mentioned it. Obviously, Gavin not just doing a straight sprint as it looked like he was setting up from the front line. It wasn't a straight sprint. There was a few start steps, a few little mini jukes in there, which put Sam off the scent and couldn't just close in on it being a foot race. If he'd have just tailed him, none of that would have happened. Instead, he's taken the center. He's chose to get inside that loading bay, flush him out, and then push him into a hard position here. I think Gavin's best bet would have been to sprint up the mountain, at least try and get some high ground advantage and get that jump. But we're seeing a hand contact.
There's hand contact before the lights go green, and
green.
it's programmed to go green at that 7.36. What a sensational way to win it this would be for UGEN.
Now we're not sure on the timing. Let's see what Johan, head ref, says.
Oh, it's a tag given, and Sam Van Ryn has pulled it out the fire for UGEN. An astonishing end to the game. 2 critical DTRs. Parkour 59 denied an evasion that would have put him 2-1 up, and then right at the death, they have managed to nick it in sudden death. What a way to end the game, and Parkour 59 are beaten in sudden death. They pick up 1 point, but only 1 point, and maybe things could open up in this Group B.
Yep, only gaining that 1 point by Parkour 59. They were favourites to win it, but now we're seeing a UGEN with 2 wins and a sudden death win against Dexterity with a sudden death win and 2 wins. Again, look, this is match. They've got 2 wins apiece. They've got 2 sudden deaths apiece. There's still more to play for. There's a couple more matches in this grouping, but those are currently your front runners. We've got Dexterity and UGEN front running the group. Everyone else trailing behind. Some wiggle room. We can definitely see what's going to go on, but I can hear right now we've got Greg on the quad with a couple of athletes from Parkour 59.
Guys, I'm here with Parkour 59.
Let's
now,
see
that was
what
an
he has to
amazing
say for
performance,
himself.
probably one of the toughest matchups that we've seen in both sessions here today, and it just came down to the wire. How does it feel to just miss out on victory like that?
Yeah, we have a little frustration, but it's not a perfect lose. It's a sudden death, so it counts. Yeah. We have to fail to grow up, so it's not finished. We have 1 day more and watch much more. So we can't want to see.
And next up, you have dexterity.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about this?
I think it's not that much. You know, like it's not too hard. We put some force, but not like it's not impossible for us. You know, it's like a little like 50% or something.
And now, any French words to the crowd to get them all hyped up?
Parcours 59, vous êtes la meilleure communauté du monde entier. Merci à tous. Merci, merci.
Well done. Thank you boys very much.
Parcours 59 qui ne s'arrive pas vaincu.
And there we go. Johan from Parkour 59, not competing, but still very much part of the team, telling the fans of Parkour 59, you are the best world chase tag community on the planet. But they have not delivered victory there. A sudden death defeat means that Parkour 59, it is not going to be all sewn up. It's not going to be like Hollywood Freerunners in Group A this afternoon, who had 4 outright wins. Things could get very, very messy.
Expect nothing less from the group of death, and we have now ParkourMan jumping in for their final match of the evening today. We've obviously got 1 more match tomorrow, so we're going to tune in for that. But ParkourMan is stepping up to the quad once more. These boys, they are trying their best, they are pushing it, but we just haven't seen them get a win yet in the tournament. Up against one of the front runners for the comp so far, we've got Nyx coming in with a draw. I want to see how they can come up against Nyx, because Nyx have got 2 more matches to play, this and then a final match against UGEN that they are going to look forward to at the end of this stream.
Yeah, well, Nyx, it has perhaps not gone exactly as they would have liked. They began by being defeated by their fellow Americans Dexterity Depot, albeit in a sudden death chase-off. So they did pick up a point, but only 1 point. They were then beaten 3-1 by Parkour 59. They have to bounce back here against ParkourMan, and then in the final game of the night, it would be Nyx versus UGEN, and UGEN really have shown us tonight that they are capable of beating anyone if anybody had any doubt about that. Bennett Person is the first man heading onto the quad for Nyx.
And ParkourMan still arguing in the athlete area, and they have chosen their player 2, being able to step up on the chase plate.
Yeah, it's Tong Ki who comes in. Trying to get hold of Bennett. Bennett has got a bit of space here, and he's trying to try and maintain it. He's unable to do so. Tong Ki gets the tag.
Tong Ki nailing that tag and being able to step himself up to get an evasion opportunity. They have had a chance to freshen themselves up from that last loss. Hopefully they can get back in the game, reset the slate, and decide that this is their match. They need to own this match and get some momentum behind them.
Athletes ready!
It's number 5, Nick Amblo. Oh, wow. Well, yeah, the tag was made. It was high risk.
Tag made, there's a secure. And we're seeing Nick practice a lot of maneuvers like this in the practice sessions, being able to throw the body around, decide where he can put himself that is awkward and unexpected for the evader not to get that adaptation.
Wong Bin into action. Nick Amblo played such a huge role at the US National Championships, picking up both evasions in the final as they went and took the title, Nyx. Can he pick up one here at the World Championship? Fong Bin trying to get hold of him. Nick Amblo going over the mountain. Fong Bin is right behind him. He's right behind him. He reached out. He couldn't get him. They both stumbled. They both had trouble. And another chance go. Was it in time?
Fong Bin getting the stumble there, but recovering from it. Nick Amblo also, but the front line was already compromised. They were too close to each other, running around from that sisters level, and then that tag has been made on the front line. Next up, we've got Michael Fraser on the chaser plate. Can Fong Bin jump straight from that little stumble, recover that, recover the tag, and now try to get the evasion?
Well, right on the buzzer there, the referee seemed very confident that was within 20 seconds. I'm not completely sure, but nobody seems to have checked it. Everybody seems happy. So on we go. Michael Fraser into the action, claiming the tag. Tag given, 0-0 after the first quarter of this game.
Yeah, pushing him out with some large macro herding there. Big body positioning on the bottom of the mountain, deciding, okay, cool, I can't really run over the mountain. I've got to turn myself back. And Fanbing, as he's turned back, unfortunately getting caught there between the loading bay and the ridge.
0-all. Athletes ready!
Michael Fraser. Can we see this man really showcase his skills? Drops down from the mountain. Treats the sisters like it's not even a thing. Does so again. Swings around by the tilted cube, swings into trouble. But look how he hopped out of the mountain there and under the ridge, and he keeps on going, keeping up that speed. Michael Fraser, this time over the sisters, and that will do it. Michael Fraser puts Nix ahead.
And there we go, Nix with their first evasion there. Lungao doing real well to keep the pressure on, but he just couldn't close that distance. Michael Fraser putting in a couple of start steps, a couple of idles, and then a lot of speed to be able to cover the distance. Lungao not quite having an answer for what Michael's put in there on the quad, and that's where the evasion's made.
It's Lee Yi-ki. His turn to have a go at Michael Fraser, who once again just has those huge strides, gobbles up the ground. Grabbing onto those bars as he swings about, but ultimately got stuck there, and Lee Yi-ki managed to track him down.
Yeah, you can see, Dan, every time there's a little micro step there, Lee Yi-ki is getting closer and closer. He is inside the loading bay. He's already got inside, and then there are some smaller steps as he's grabbing and moving his feet. He is closing down distance, and Michael has no choice but to back himself into a corner to eventually be caught like prey.
Athletes ready!
Lee Yi-ki staying on, looking to try and level up this game. It's Nick Amblo back into the action. And Amblo gets up onto the bars and makes the tag, and Lee Yi-ki rolls out the quad, but rolls out of trouble as well.
And there we go, Nick Amblo pushing Lee Yi-ki into a sticky situation there in our corner that is always plastered up with Gorilla Glue, sponsor of World Chase Tag WCT7.
10 seconds. Chase 8, Nix evading. 1-0, Nix. Athletes ready!
666, the number of the beast, also the number of Tong Ki. Comes into the bottom of the loading bay, but can't make it count. Nick Amblo round the outside, sort of goes over the sisters, lost his footing a bit, and Tong Ki was there to punish.
Tong Ki, yeah, fantastic ghost over the sisters for him to be able to clear that, get his feet back on the ground, keep acceleration, and then catch out Nick as he turns the corner next to the tilted cube. Tong Ki, not the first time he's starting, sitting down in this evasion, I think is a good position to be able to get a little bit of recovery in those 20 seconds before setting up for his actual starting position.
There we go.
Ethan with a little stumble there. Ethan coming in, and he's done a spider, and he's pushed himself inside the loading bay, and there's the tag on Tang Li as he goes up. Sorry. Yeah, it was Tang Ki. Sorry, Tang Ki as he comes up the mountain. There is the tag made by Ethan. The tag made means that he now has the opportunity to try and continue keeping that lead for Nix, but they are already up in chase 10, 1 point. And if they keep that and defend their title here, they will manage to win this outright.
Athletes ready!
Ooh, wow, there's all sorts going on there as Ethan Grindle, somehow this chase is still going on. Despite the mistake, it's turned into a race around the outside. Ethan Grindle, he's not got tracked down there either, and he might keep on going here. And he...
Chris has seen him stack it. He's seen him do a double knee capitation to be able to fall to the ground. But Ethan is not able to be stopped, getting straight back off the ground, continuing it through. Chris cannot cover the ground to get that tag in, and Ethan walks away with the second evasion. And we have actually got a medic call now from the judge to be able to check out, not Ethan, who took the stumble, but unfortunately, sorry, next chase. We'll cover that in a second. Let's see, Dan, what we got going on here?
We've got Ethan Grindle looking to go back to back. It may have been one of the sketchiest evasions we've seen tonight. He is looking a little bit, and he just ends up collapsed it on the floor. Wow. Well, I mean, at least he's safe there, but he isn't going to add to the points tally. However, Knicks do lead this by 2 points to 0.
And Lee Yiki getting Ethan out of trouble. Maybe Ethan can recover a little bit from that double knee bang that he had earlier. But it's not Ethan I'm particularly worried about. It is Chris got a medic called over to him from Team ParkourMan. So let's see how he's faring as we get on with this next chase.
Well, it is Isaiah Keaton who comes in now for Knicks. It's Lee Yi-ki trying to get ParkourMan back into this in their final game of the night, but he's not going to do it. It remains 2-0 Knicks, and they've got a real problem now, ParkourMan, because having lost every game in regulation time so far, they are now in a match point for Knicks situation. Can Knicks revitalise their challenge here in Group B?
And Tanky stepping up for the chaser plate after a brutal 2-0 loss. Let's see what Tanky can do to try and match that difference.
Isaiah, can he wrap this one up? Goes round the front line. Tonki desperately trying to keep ParkourMan in this. It is not, oh wow, it looked like he had him. He hops out the mountain, Isaiah, but he just couldn't keep that momentum going, and Tonki does make the tag to keep him in it.
Yeah, I like that little pause there just before the sisters to see the timing of Isaiah, and once Isaiah's hit the ground, Tonki being able to catch up to him. Almost got a tag down there by the tilted cube, but had to follow him around all the way through the ridge. Both players conging that inside mountain ridge, that mountain platform though. That is quite high to be able to get a big vault over the top.
Nick Amblo, it remains match point. And that is that, and Knicks do have a win. The US champions have not had the start to this tournament that they want, but they have managed to pick up a win within the regulation time against ParkourMan, who've had a miserable return to the World Championship so far. Knicks will be back in the final game of the night against UGEN. But coming up, can Parkour 59 bounce back from that defeat to UGEN as they take on Dexterity Depot? Because as things stand, UGEN and Dexterity are the top two in the group with 8 points each, with Parkour 59 just on 7 points, 1 point behind. If Dexterity can take this to at least sudden death, if they could win it in sudden death, incredible. If they could beat ParkourMan, it has been Parkour 59, sorry, and it's been proven that can happen tonight, then wow, we could be in for a big shot in Group B here tonight. And I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of Parkour 59 fans here at Les Arènes who will not be happy about how this transpires.
In the blue corner, chasing first, Dexterity Depot!
And there we go, the Yanks stepping up to the mark. Tim Dexter leading the team and leading his namesake. Tim Dexter is leader of that gym, Dexterity Depot, over in the States, and they've been doing hard work to work on their World Chase Tag before coming here to Worlds. Let's see what we have in store for us today. There is still going to be a little bit of wiggle room for them. They are doing real well so far. We've got 2 wins and a sudden death win. Let's see what they can do up against the crowd favorite, the French favorites, the reigning WCT7 French champions, Parkour 59.
Well, Parkour 59 started things off in exactly the fashion we thought they would. A 3-0 win against the Crow, a 3-1 win against the US champions Knicks, but they came unstuck against UGEN. Couple of tight DTR calls not going their way, beaten in sudden death. But as things stand, Dexterity Depot tonight, they didn't concede an evasion against Knicks. They only conceded 1 against ParkourMan, and they didn't concede against the Crow either. Dexterity have been pretty tight defensively, and if they can carry on making the tags, if they can make this close, then Parkour 59, it's not just a case of, oh, how many points are we going to win the group by? It's even, are we going to get out of the group? And that would be a big shot with these guys being the back-to-back French national champions. They've won in this arena. Naim Street starts off, and it's Aaron Lucas setting off after him. And he just drops down to the ground there, Naeem, and Aaron Lucas doesn't need another invitation to turn this into a race, and a race that he wins. This man's pace is going to help him out in situations like that.
Big stumble there, Dan. I wouldn't expect that from Naeem. He's usually pretty solid on his feet, got pretty good balance. I'm wondering what's happened with him today. But there's a stumble there, put him on the floor, and that definitely put him off for Aaron to be able to capitalize on that and manage to get that tag in early.
Tom Fair, so nearly the hero against UGEN, denied an evasion by a very, very marginal DTR. Back in here, looking to stop Aaron Lucas from putting Dexterity, the team from Indianapolis, into the lead. Whoa, now he manages, I think, to stop his foot from going out on the floor, but it does not stop the tag being made by the front line.
Stopped the floor, but Tommy did not fall for getting down after the sisters and trailing him round as we're going into that front line. He decided to keep the center control, stay on top of the front line, and hunt your man down to get that tag over on the front line.
59 remaining, 0-all. Athletes ready!
Alex Mosley in as the chaser for Dexterity. Tom starting by the ridge. Alex just hanging around, waiting for him to make his move. Now he's got him in the tilted cube. And has he got him where he wants him? Yes, he has. Connor Carroll nodding his head.
Yeah, look, this is really exciting stuff. If this is the mini games that get played in World Chase Tag that I'm excited about. It's all very well and good when we've got fast acceleration, but I want to see some smart brains out there. I want to play a quick game of chess with you, and I want to figure out who comes out on top. In this case, Alex got the tag, but both players playing that little mini game super well. Good dueling over by the tilted cube.
Sometimes it's brain that wins the race or the chase. Sometimes it's brawn. Sometimes you need a bit of both. Alex Mosley drops down, gets to the sisters, waits there. Hugo not a position to make an effort, but he is able to create the opportunity over on the other side of the quad, and the tag is made. A quarter of this one down, and it is 0-0. It's another tight game involving Dexterity.
Tough stuff. Still 0-0 coming into Chase 5. I loved Hugo's little drop there, being able to position himself on the sisters and then get that drop to scramble. Kept his acceleration up super quick after getting to the ground. But we got Paul Fisher now for Team Dexterity being placed on the chaser.
Paul Fisher heading off after Hugo. In both of these teams' final games of the night. Paul Fisher unable to make the tag there, goes along the front line, manages to maintain his balance, and he manages to maintain the pressure and gets the tag in the end.
Didn't expect Hugo to actually get caught there after juking really well over by the ridge, and Paul Fisher not being able to capitalize on that opening after the loading bay. By the time he gets around to the sisters, I wasn't sure if Hugo would be able to just scramble out, keep the cover, and keep Paul Fisher at arm's bay. Paul managing to not let that happen, get the tag, and put himself in a position now against Gavin from Parkour 59.
Well, one of the two 16-year-olds, Gavin, comes in. Paul Fisher turning it into a race, but Gavin saw where he's going, just cut off the angle.
Brutal, yeah, there we go. There's a Viper straight through the tilted cube. These bars mean nothing to Gavin. He knows this quad like the back of his hand, moving around these bars as if they didn't even exist. Look at this. Nice little thread straight through. And not only that, he's not sliding through. He's actually stepping through, Dan. He's getting not only his hand out for the tag, another hand on the platform, but a foot on the platform to be able to accelerate if he misses.
Tim Dexter, team captain, into the action. Gavin starting by the ridge. Common starting position. He shimmies one way, then the other, then goes around the outside, goes around the sisters. If they aren't there, Tim Dexter kind of gets stuck there. Tim Dexter up onto the tilted cube. Gavin shimmying and shaking to the sisters. Tim Dexter drops between the sisters. I'm not sure you're quick enough, Tim. He isn't quick enough. And Gavin Pariel. Oh, it's the old roller. He's hit the griddy. It's like he's rolling Hannigan.
He's taking Hannigan's haircut. He's taking Hannigan's moves. And he's going to take the title at this rate. Gavin smashing it here at World Chase Tag 7. Lovely little work at the back of the sisters here. Bopping down, going across the front line. Great acceleration. But it's all happening for me in these mini games. These duels are where I'm seeing Gavin really excel, reading the player, reading his feet, and seeing where he can get away.
Well, look, it has not been 100% smooth sailing for Gavin Pariel. Obviously, UGEN did for him in the sudden death chase-off. He has been evaded, but he is showing flashes of utter genius. We didn't see one there because Aaron Lucas managed to make the tag, and it means that it is 1-0 at the halfway stage here, but Lucas stays on with Arsene, the other 16-year-old, on the quad, trying to track him down and stop Aaron Lucas from leveling this game up. Couple of speedsters here, and that is too quick even for Aaron Lucas. Marvellous work from Arsene.
Yeah, lovely little dive there through the loading bay. I don't think Aaron expected that trailing hand to get tagged. I thought he'd be able to break away. I'm sure he did too, to the mountain, but Arsene being able to get it. And there's the reset. Nice deep breath, getting his head back in the game to see what he's going to do against the powerhouse. That is Roland Hannigan stepping up to the chaser plate for dexterity.
Roland Hannigan, he's just seen 16-year-old opponent do his own dance, having nicked his haircut. How does he respond against the other 16-year-old in this Parkour 59 team? And it's a desperate dive, and he's not made it. He's back up. He's back up to try and force another chance, but will he get another chance? He will not get another chance. It's 2-0 Parkour 59.
Yeah, you can see he's absolutely gutted by that. Looking at Roland, he's like, oh, God damn it, but fair play. You've done real well on this chase. And Arsene couldn't be more pleased with himself. And the crowd is going wild for Parkour 59 here in Every.
Roland Hannigan, left floundering, desperately clawing at air as Parkour 59 pull further away. Alex Mosley is their man, has to try and stop the other 16-year-old in this team, Arsene, from making it an even more commanding lead, and he's managed to do his job, Alex Mosley, but they now need to start putting points on the board.
Well, there was the pressure that Alex was putting on, but yeah, 2-0 up at this stage in the match. I can't see them coming back from this. Dexterity really have to pull out the big guns. Alex put the pressure on, but he's going to need a lot more than that to get an evasion, especially against Hugo stepping up on the chaser plate.
Naeem Street, very vocal. More words of encouragement, maybe strategy, to his teammate Hugo Boyczynski, who sets off out to Alex Mosley. The bars on the outside of the sisters used and used again, but the tag is made. It's a good job it was, because Hugo was not staying in the quad after that one.
Yeah, that would have been his last opportunity there. That diving tag, you have to decide, is it worth committing to diving out of the quad? Seems like this one was, and it seems like it paid off. High risk, high reward. Alex Mosley, given the handshake, deciding, yeah, you know what, I thought I had you there, but not so much.
Well, this is an absolutely massive result for Parkour 59 if they can get the job done. Paul Fisher. Can he do the improbable? Can he tag and then evade a couple of times? Well, he's got the tag done in double quick time, and that's good news for Dexterity Depot.
Well, there's the tag, and if anyone can do it, it might be Paul Fisher. But we have now Naeem's on the chaser plate, but I don't think it's going to be Naeem doing the chasing. I have the feeling there's going to be a little swap out going on. We got a little bit of argumentation for Parkour 59 now, a little bit of a discussion on who should go, but Naeem seems pretty set on it being him. Wiping his shoes, facing backwards. Let's see.
Captain says it's his time. He wasn't even facing the right way when the buzzer went. But he's now got Paul Fisher in his sights. He's really got him in his sights, and he makes the tag. And Parkour 59 do bounce back. They were defeated by UGEN, but come right back to beat Dexterity Depot, one of their genuine rivals for a top 2 spot, and that will put them top of the table for now on 10 points. They could be displaced by UGEN in the final game of the night, but that is a massive, massive result for Parkour 59 and for the future of Group B.
And we're hearing some massive chants up here in the stadium. People are loving it. There we go. Les Arena on their feet. Big claps, big cheers. Parkour 59 couldn't be more pleased with himself. They have played all 4 matches today, coming away with only 1 draw and 3 wins. Top of the board for now. Let's see what they can do in tomorrow's final match. And then hopefully they are getting through to that semi-final.
Naeem Street orchestrating the fans here at Les Arènes. That is the last time we'll see them in action this evening. We have got 1 more match for you. It will see Knicks, the American champions, against UGEN, a team who have already beaten the favourites Parkour 59. Granted, it took sudden death, but if UGEN can win this game in regulation time, they will go top of the table with just one more game to play. That will be against Dexterity Depot in what could be a straight shootout. This is some group, isn't it?
Absolutely brutal. We've got Nyx here stepping up, and I think out of consistency, they've done real well. UGEN obviously coming in now with Dane. We've got Sam leading the pack, Dave Homburg, and there we go for Richard Haroon sauntering his way to the athlete area, ready for another go at it. It'd be interesting to see. I saw a medic call out, Dan, for the last time UGEN were on, and I'm not sure what sort of state UGEN have found themselves in with Haroon. Coming in uninjured, coming in fully prepped for this. Good training camp on the lead up, but might walk away with this injury on day one. So even if they do get through to the final, they might have lost one of their star players in this event. We'll see what state he's in by how much they utilize him right now, when it counts, when they need the points, because if they do not win this, they might not even get through to the final in 1 day's time.
Well, Nyx kind of need a miracle. Their final game would be against the Crow. If they could beat UGEN, if they could beat Nyx, if they could beat the Crow, that would be an extra 6 points. But they've only managed to pick up 4 so far. Could 10 be enough? It might be, but it's a difficult one to calculate. Nick Amblo is on the Chasers' plate.
Not what I expected, Dan. Not what I expected at all.
And UGEN starting with Dane. Interesting. Dane setting off around the front line, goes down low. If he's got an option to go low, he'll usually take it, but Nick Amblo manages to make the tag. Yeah, fantastic scramble there, but however fast Dane was back in the day, and I've tried to chase him, I've tried to tag him multiple times, he is one of the faster people in the UK scene. It is hard to match Nick Amblo's speed right there. He is able to catch up on him and chase him down, even though there's that low scramble, getting him down over the sisters.
Athletes ready!
Dave Hogenboom into the action. Nick Amblo jigging around underneath the ridge. Goes through the mountain as if it isn't there. Then hops up over the sisters. Goes round by the front line, realises Dave is waiting, so turns back on himself. Both of them moving through the mountain absolutely beautifully. Has Dave Hogenboom got the pace to cut him off? Has Dave Hogenboom got the pace? Oh no! He went out of the quad. I think he landed on the concrete just before the 20 seconds elapsed, and that means that it counts as a tag.
And he's taken out a ref with him. I think if that ref was paying a little bit more attention, he might have been able to step back a little bit further. Didn't expect that athlete to come out, but Nick diving straight out of the quad, hoping to get the extra few seconds. I do not think it was made. Video review going in now into process. Let's have a little look. Nick hit the ground there, stepped out, and there's ground touch before the green. Now, to be honest, Dan, I think if he hadn't jumped over the border, if he'd have taken off from the border and really sent it nice and high in the air, look, he's hurdled the border there to get that extra step. If he'd have really sent it off of the border, I think he'd have got the extra air time, and that would have been an evasion.
That really could, like we saw Leon Brandt do it earlier on for quality movement, the Swedes. But it is a tag, and Dave Hogenboom gets to stay on as he looks to put UGEN into the lead in this one. Michael Frazier, the man sent after him, and he's hopping about like a gazelle in there, but he can't make the tag with the dive there. Look how easily he got up onto the top of the ridge there, and then he drops down and does not make the tag. I thought it was a fait accompli, but Dave Hogenboom thought otherwise. He wasn't there when the hand was outstretched, and it's a first point, and it goes to UGEN.
What a phenomenal chase there by Dave, being able to utilize the whole quad and even get outside the quad on this ridge. What a crazy turn of events to be able to get that nice speed step through the mountain, get the speed, and Nick ended up on his ground with that missed tag.
A reminder, if UGEN win this game outright, they will top the group at the end of tonight with one game against Dexterity Depot to come. Matthew Hall hanging around on the bars there, waiting for Dave to make a move, and then not decisive enough to make the tag. And he's, oh, hang on, what's he done there? Has he banged his head?
Yeah, that's definitely a head bang, Dan.
And that has got to cost him. He managed to get one final dive, but you can see the anguish and the pain. He's managed to injure himself twice in the space of about 7 seconds there, Matthew Hall. Not good news for Nyx.
Yeah, committing to that final dive there when he knew the clock's ticking and he knew he's already had that head injury. And he smashed his shoulder, by the looks of it, into the border by diving through the ridge. Real good threaded dive, missed the player and landed on the ridge, impacting the shoulder quite heavily.
Well, they really are in the wars, this Knicks team, aren't they? They're Jimona Dara, injured before the tournament started. She's hobbling around in a cast. And now Matthew Hall, one of their most experienced and best players, has managed to bang his head and then bang his shoulder in quick succession. And how big a toll is that going to take on him for the rest of this game? Not only that, they find themselves, well, surely they find themselves 2-0 down, do they not? The scoreboard hasn't changed, but that'll go down as an evasion. We're checking it first, however. The score has been given, the evasion has been given, so it is 2-0 to UGEN, and the smile is wide on Dave Hogenboom's face.
Athletes ready!
It's Ethan back into action. He dives and he manages to get his man.
Oh, that was close there, Dan. If he'd have missed that, he'd have ended up on his belly. Dave would have ended up on the other side of a quad, and then Ethan would have had to get the recover. Great little slide there, getting him just before the mountain, reaching out, committing everything to that one opportunity early on in the tag.
Is there an argument for doing that so early, though, because you've got the time to recover?
100%. You could get off of your belly, reset back into the center, and you've got another one opportunity right there in the barrel.
Well, Sam Van Rijn has an opportunity now to try and stop Ethan Grindle from halving the deficit here. Ethan going low. Now to the loading bay, swings around there and under the ridge, and it's a race around the outside. Sam tries to cut off the space. There's a stumble from Ethan.
The tag ended up in a handshake. Hopefully Ethan's all right. There's a quick bang there, ended up on the floor, and then Sam closing down on him has ended up with just a hand in his hand, getting him up off the floor. Good sportsmanship there, and a tag in the process.
Well, I think
2-0. Sam's got to be feeling pretty strong about himself. They're almost halfway through this chase, and they're already 2 up.
Well, Ethan Grindle held out his hand at the end of that chase. I think he may have hurt his finger, might have landed on it. They're all getting injured in this Knicks team. It's like the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. They're just dropping like flies left, right and centre. But Spidey makes the tag on Sam Van Rijn there to keep the lead at just 2 points for UGEN.
Well, Spidey has got the toughest job on planet Earth right now. He has got an uphill battle. He will need to dig deep, get the evasion, and then get 2 more to get a clear win for Knicks.
Richard Thompson just acknowledging to Isaiah Keaton that he is coming for him. He is coming for him right now, and he is right on his tail, and he does not let go of it.
There we go, Richard stuck to him like Gorilla Glue, and he's got that tag there, securing his position for UGEN now to continue that lead. 2-0 in Chase 9. Richard is stepping up by the ridge, and Nick is back in play, stepping onto the chaser plate for Knicks. You've got to pick your best evaders, Dan. Nick getting the opportunity for a tag here is the only way to secure back-to-back evasions and hopefully get that win later on.
Yes, you've got to get the tag, but then you're going to have to put points on the board yourself. So you need your tagger to be good at evading, and he's got the tag done. He just sort of cradled the back of Richard Thompson's head.
It's cute. I rate it. You got to look after each other out there, Dan. Make sure everyone's safe. We've already had one head bang. I don't want to get Richard's noggin smashed up. Nick's looking out for him, and Nick is now again returning back to the ridge for this strong starting position. Sam on the start plate for UGEN.
Athletes ready!
Sam Van Rijn looking to get hold of Nick Amblo here, and there was a reach out there, but he didn't get him, but he's managed to follow him all the way, and he managed to cut off a little portion of that ball and that bit of the quad, and he just kept on closing the gap inch by inch by inch.
Yeah, he's right on him. Classic tail there, being able to follow him the whole way through, but just get a little bit more ground every time there's a corner taken, every time there's an obstacle interacted with. It's just Sam's doing it a little quicker, Nick's getting a little slower, and then there it is. Making a good choice, going under the ridge wall there. Faster on your feet than you are in the air.
Athletes ready!
Sam Van Rijn stays on.
And Bennett is stepping up for Knicks as a chaser, and there a tag has been called, and there the lights go off. Sam, unsure if it was, but I think he'll concede. There it is, there's a concession. Bennett's happy with it, but he better be happy with doing the work that he's got in front of him. He's going to need to get those tags, need to get those evasions in the bag for Knicks to be in with a chance of getting anything other than a loss for his team here.
Time is running out for Knicks, the US champions who came here as one of the real heralded teams. They have not been firing on all cylinders in this one, though. It is UGEN, largely unfancied, but this was the group of death. It could be a group that UGEN top, because Richard Thompson is under the mountain. He takes a swipe, and Bennett screaming in frustration, because that means that UGEN are on the brink.
Cool off, Bennett. That's all I got.
I like it.
No, for sure. Richard being able to slide along the ground, get that tag in for Bennett. It has put him in a great position here. UGEN have got to be feeling good about this, leading in this match, which will put them in great standings for the whole of Group B, surviving that death group.
Yeah, and if they could get an evasion here, it really would help their evasion difference, but that isn't going to happen. It remains match point to UGEN, but Richard Thompson does not increase the lead and end the match right now. Isaiah Keaton must go back to back if Knicks are going to have any chance of getting something from this game. It is Sam Van Ryn who is sent in once again.
Last ditch attempt. Let's see what Spider's got.
Athletes ready!
Is this the final chase of the night? Sam Van Ryn has Isaiah Keaton in his sights. UGEN have the top of the table in their sights. He very nearly managed to make the tag there. Drops down from the ridge. Over by the front line, Isaiah Keaton trying to get away over the sisters, but Sam Van Ryn has got him, and that will do it. And UGEN have put themselves in the premier position at the end of day one in Group B. This is massive. Parkour 59 on 10 points, but UGEN have 11 points. That sudden death victory they had earlier against them could prove to be the key point. We're going to try and get down on the quad to speak to UGEN, who have had a phenomenal day here. 3 wins in regulation time, 1 sudden death win against the group favourites. Greg Ball is down there with Dave Hogenboom, whose back-to-back evasions helped him out in this one. But Richard Thompson, Dane, Haroon, they have all played their part so far. Let's hear from them.
We're just going to wait for Sam, and then we're going to start it off. But UGEN, bringing it home for Britain right there. Thank you very much, guys. Richard, how are you feeling? How are the calves?
Oh, just cramping, but it's fine.
Yeah, no proper injuries there?
No, I'm all good, all good, all good. Just a little cramp.
All right, fantastic. Now tell us, how much work have you guys put in? What does it mean to get to this point where you've officially topped the table and you have the best chance of success? Yes, you're top of the table.
We are very feel, yes.
And Sam coming through as almost MVP of the match right there, buddy. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm prepared for tomorrow. Dexterity, you better watch out. That's all I have to say.
They're coming for their ankles. So 1 more against Dexterity, and then you either, if that goes well, you're going to play Hollywood, or who else would you rather play if you do get there?
I would love to play Rooftop Kings.
Nimbus!
Nimbus because of their playstyle, but Rooftop Kings because we've been training with them a lot, and I'm supporting them, and I want them to be in the final as well. So.
Nice, very wholesome. And any words from you, Dave?
No.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming out. Guys, you've impressed the hell out of me, so I really appreciate that.
Doesn't take much.
We'll see you here tomorrow for the rest of the session. We'll have the women's division, and we'll have the finals. We'll see you then.
Well, that is day one, done and dusted. There were some things we expected, and it turned out to be so. However, we have seen some surprises as well. Group A, it's a real battle for the second spot, but we know the defending champions Hollywood are going to finish top. But in this Group B, it is all up in the air, because while UGEN are top of the table right now by a point from Parkour 59, and that's why they're dancing, it could all change in the final round of group games tomorrow, because ParkourMan, the Chinese team, who have not won a game, will face Parkour 59. You would think Parkour 59 are going to get it done. There you can see it. Tomorrow, yep. ParkourMan versus Parkour 59. We've got Knicks versus the Crow. That looks like a dead rubber. It's not going to have any impact on who finishes in the top 2. But UGEN versus Dexterity Depot.
That's
Dexterity Depot need to win it in regulation time as well. And then there would be a decider, whether it be evasion difference or head-to-head record. But if they win it in the head-to-head record, then obviously they would go above UGEN. But that is an absolutely enormous game.
It's going to come down to the wire. We always said it. This was the group of death, highly competitive. Let's see what they can do. We've got a little bit of rest for the athletes now, and then we're going to come back in at the top of tomorrow's open division before going into the semi-finals.
Also, what you have to bear in mind, We know from Group A that Hollywood Freerunners are going to finish top of the group.
No
Whoever
doubt.
finishes second in Group B will play them in the semi-finals, not the final. The 2 group winners will be kept apart. These are the standings, as you can see. UGEN on 11 points, then Parkour 59 on 10, Dexterity Depot on 7. So Nix, the Crow, ParkourMan, they cannot finish in the top 2. The only way Dexterity get there is by beating UGEN, and hoping we will sort that out. In fact, it's 8 points for Dexterity Depot that they have. So if they win that one, then they will go level with UGEN, and then it could come down to head-to-head record. So there is a way of Dexterity Depot getting above UGEN. But if UGEN were to win that match, they're going to finish top. And it means that Parkour 59 are not going to be playing the #1 team in the final. They'll be playing in the semi-final. And one of the top 2 teams in the world will not make it to the final. It has been a phenomenal day. We have seen some elite-level chase tag action. We have seen some surprises. Not all of them have pleased the French crowd here we've had at Les Arènes. What's been the standout moments for you, Conor O'Carroll?
Seeing Parkour 59 get it done with their youth league, I think, has been a huge highlight for me. Obviously, they haven't got a full streak. There was that 1 dud game for them, but 3 wins out of 4 today has shown me that these youth have really got what it takes to take it to the next level. And as we can see from certain teams that have come into this world, we're going to need more than a quad, more than some world experience. We're actually going to need a thriving community to be competitive with, and that's what we're seeing here in the French teams that are battling head-to-head very regularly in their own clubs, in their own gyms, having that ecosystem, building up coaches, building up the next generation, and it is proving that that is the way to go when it comes to the World Championships here at World Chase Tag 7.
This is the biggest tournament in World Chase Tag. We will be back tomorrow for 2 more sessions of action where 2 world champions will be crowned. In the afternoon, it is the women's division, featuring the likes of the women's Fakao team. We've got Volt, Anarchy, Kunoichi, Rooftop Queens, and Valkyrie as well. And then in the evening, the open division will see the end of the group stages, including that fascinating battle in Group B before the semis, the 3rd place playoff, and the final. We'll be back. 2 world champions crowned here in Paris. Keep chasing.
And don't get caught.